And GCF Learn Free, there's a couple sections. If you're in the original section that has all the Excel things, very bottom of the list, you back up. Let's see. Go. Now, the original list of Excel 2016 basics, way at the bottom then, is the link for the additional things, called More Resources. By the way, there's a little quiz in there too, but it's more just seeing if you know what you're doing. It's kind of a fun little quiz. Not very hard. But.
My brain is going to explode. I've been doing it. I don't know.
My student in my project management class is talking that way too, because there's so much to learn.
Right.
Well, it's just that there's no time to continue before something else starts new. So
That's what's overwhelming me lately.
Well, my student in the other class actually told Paul, "No, don't give me another class yet. I want to focus on this."
Yeah, I'm ready to say the same thing.
Her schedule out a little bit.
I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be using this stuff with the formulas, because I envision the kind of job I'm going to have. It's going to be mostly with databases and mailing lists and stuff like that. So a mail merge, that's all I got to know.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'll use some of this. It's having a hard time sticking in my brain.
It just looks good, is what I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, at the bottom of the Excel Basics is this thing called More Resources. It's got two links here, which I think in the printout I gave you of the different subjects, I've got all that in there. So there's Excel Formulas, which has some of the same things to the basics. Excel Tips, then, is what I want to go into. And there's various things in here, but I'm going to start with number 11. Quick analysis. And this is kind of a handy little thing. I think they came in with this, not in the 2016, but maybe the 2013 version. I hardly use it, but once in a while, it's kind of a handy thing.
Right.
Let me open this up.
There are a lot of different ways to visualize data in Excel, but sometimes it's hard to know where to start. Luckily, the Quick Analysis tool offers a convenient way to browse through many of the different options, so you can find a good visualization even if you're not sure exactly what you want. This feature was introduced in Excel 2013, so unfortunately it isn't available in older versions. To get started, select your data.
Let me stop for a minute. Hey, quieted. I have a sound button up here. Used to be, I always have the little microphone here, or the sound thing, and I can do it there. I'm going to have to do it through settings, I hope. Come on. Oh, it says I'm quite a ways down already. Let's see how this sounds.
And you should see this little button in the lower right corner of the selection.
Let me try this one too.
When you click it, it will show a menu
How's
of
that?
various features to analyze and visualize your data. And you can just hover over the different options to see a preview. You can very quickly try out a variety of different visualizations. If you find an option you like, you can click it to make it more permanent, although this step is optional. Now, what makes this feature really interesting is that these options will vary based on your data. In this example, Excel noticed that we had a column for the total, so it displayed that as a line chart to keep it separate from the monthly data. It's usually pretty smart about this, although it will sometimes show options that don't work as well. So you'll just need to use your own judgment. But it's such a quick and easy feature to use, I recommend just diving in and seeing what it can tell you about your data.
Foundation, creating opportunities for learning.
So pretty simple. We have. I thought we had a workbook in there. No, there isn't one. Okay, but anyway, that's a little example. I think what I'd like you to do is actually go to your desktop files and folders. And I think under our chapter 4, I believe it was the first one. It's a good one to do some work with this. No, that's not the one. It's about set up our multiplication table.
What's it called?
Desktop files and folders, Microsoft. Desktop files and folders. And then you should see Moss, Excel 2016.
Slide 1.
I'm trying to find, I did this the other day and I had a nice little file that worked fine. I need just to find a file that's got a bunch of numbers and stuff in it.
Where we go in Objective 3.
Yeah, 3-1 I think is a good file. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. And what we're going to do is just highlight, I guess we could highlight the whole thing, but sometimes you can just do it by highlighting the number section. And then we get this little teeny box down in the corner called the quick analysis, which you just showed in that little video. You click on it, it actually gives you a bunch of the things that we've got on the ribbon up top. Like here's the conditional formatting, using different things, top and bottom, various ones. There's a chart button, which would allow us to pull in a chart. Gives us a preview of what it might look like. Wow. That one's really crazy. Modern art. Bar chart or more options. We could just add in a total thing. We can change this into a table here. We can do that up here with format as table 2. It's kind of neat. We can also add in spark lines. And I think he showed that in the example. I just clicked on it and it automatically put in all these spark lines on the right side here. Probably taking in, I'm guessing it probably took in all the data range. I'm going to check. Yeah, so it took B3 to L23. And for the particular one I was looking at, I put all the information in column M. It actually tells us, put them all the way down from M3 down to M23. Of the spark lines, I guess the column spark line I don't mind. I'm not as fond of the line spark line, but now that I've got that there, though, it brings up that extra tab for that. We can change it to a line and look at the squiggly lines there. Okay, doesn't help too much. But that quick analysis button is pretty handy if you know exactly where you're going with it. I like the fact that you can do a quick, conditional formatting thing using something like this, or the various ones, the icon sets. So, it gives you a preview of everything as you're doing it too, so that's pretty cool. Top 10%, I think I wouldn't do them in red, but in pink, it probably. Of course, once we set something like that, then we could go back in and change the colors and stuff. Change it a little bit more. Nice, quick and easy thing to do. So I'm going to close this, not save it. Back in GCF Learn Free. I'm forgetting now if this was in the tips or in the other section. I think it's in our regular section, so it's maybe in that first list. So I need to go back. It's going to be number 29 in the original list. It's called What If Analysis. And the example they're going to give here is a pretty simple one. But we do have a practice workbook here too, so it's a little easier to see it, I think. We can work with it.
Where are you at?
So this is the original Excel Basics, number 29.
Excel Basics. So 28.
So you're in the tips still.
Still in tips. Oh, okay.
You can close that. Right now. And if it won't let you get back directly, you can just click on topics and drill back down. Button had something to go back. Oh, there. Now you
I was looking at it wrong.
you're in the tips again.
Tips. I don't know, open it twice. Yeah.
I did.
Well, it was in tips and then
No, it's not
other
in tips. It's
resources.
in our
It was-
Excel basics.
I had to go back to other resources and then
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, I
back to
get
the.
it this way too.
all right, I'm just going the long way around. All right, Excel
Number
basics.
29. What if analysis? And Jail, are you keeping with us? And Jail, are you there? Are you muted? All right. I don't know. I may meet with her separately anyway, because this has been a hard class for her. It's been
Oh.
disjointed.
I
She
can
had problems with her
imagine.
computer, we had problems with our computers.
Develop community foundation, creating opportunities for growth.
Say I'm taking a class in school and I'm not doing very well so far. Luckily, if I get a high enough grade on the final exam, there's a chance I may be able to pass the class. The question is, what grade do I need to get on the exam to raise my average to at least a 70? We need to find out using a feature called What If Analysis, which allows you to fill in missing information based on the data you already have. Right now, all I know are the grades I got on the first 4 assignments: 58, 70, 72, and 60. Before we do our analysis, we need to figure out my current average by adding a formula or function in this cell. In this case, each assignment is weighted equally, so we can calculate the number we need using the average function. To get the most out of what if analysis, you do need to be fairly comfortable with formulas and functions. Luckily, this one is pretty simple. We'll just type an equal sign and then average. Next, we need to select all the cells, even the empty cell for the final exam grade. If we don't, it won't calculate the average for all 5 assignments. Looks like we're done, so I'm just going to press enter. And now we can see my current average. Unfortunately, it's not high enough, but we knew that was going to happen. Now we can move on to the next step, using a feature called Goal Seek to figure out what we need on the final exam. Goal Seek is a type of what if analysis that basically lets you work backwards in order to find a missing value. It starts with the result you want, then it calculates whatever input is needed to get you there. To begin, select the cell that contains your formula or function, in our case, B7. Then go to the Data tab and click the What If Analysis command. There are actually several different types of what if analysis, including Scenario Manager and Data Table. But in this case, we're going to use Goal Seek. A dialog box will appear where you can set the parameters for the information you need. In our example, we want to set cell B7, that's our selected cell, to a value of 70 by changing the cell that contains our missing value. And that's going to be B6. When you're done, click OK. And Goal Seek will take a minute to see if it can find a solution. Based on the message here, it looks like we were successful. So we're going to click OK. And now we can see the result we were looking for in the final exam cell. So I guess I need to make a 90 on the exam in order to pass the class. It's going to be tough, but I think I can do it. At least now I know, thanks to the work we did with what if analysis. It might take some practice to get the hang of the feature on your own, but it's a great way to figure out unknown values in your worksheet.
Is it a way to examine formulas, like you know there's a problem with the formula, but you can't figure out what it is?
Under data validation, a lot of times I think they can help with that. I'll change things here. There's a practice workbook in this one, so we'll open that up. We're actually going to do what she did, but then we'll play with it a little bit more. It's pretty aggressive, but yeah, with the scores she got so far.
Yeah, it's like
getting a 90 in the final.
Not unlikely there.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Editing.
I mean, this is how it's set up, and as you pointed out, we start out by putting our first thing in here. It's going to be the average of these 5 grades above. Now she typed it in. I would probably go ahead and click on average over there and then guess the right range to B2 to B6.
Wait a minute. You still put the equal in?
No, just use the function, and it puts the equal sign in there for you.
Okay.
So when you enter, yep, we're at 65% or 65 grade average right now.
Mhm.
And what's doing, because if I look at these first 4, and down at the bottom here, it shows me average and count and everything. It's actually averaging those at 65. The blank cell, it's omitting, which is kind of nice because it's not actually dividing by 5 or something like that. It's averaging what we have there. I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to B6. Why did you do it here? I haven't used this a lot. Anyway, under the data tab, what if analysis will be over towards the right side? And as you point out, there's a number of things here. I like the fact they got scenario manager, which is something we do in project management. A lot of times when we want to figure out what the best cost will be or the best schedule, various things like that. So scenario manager is something we could use there. We usually use another tool. There's another tool called at risk, which I think is talked about a little bit in one of the other classes. But Microsoft keeps expanding and doing different things. I haven't tried this one, but I got a hunch it'd be probably pretty good. When you click on goals, it brings up this little box. And so, yes, B7 is the one I want to set to a value. And in her case, she said she wanted to get up to 70. By changing the cell, and I'm just going to point at it, it puts in B6 in there. When I click OK, it's going to go ahead and do this quick calculation. It comes up and says, oh, you're going to need a 90 then. And it says here that it found a solution. If, that's where I want to play with it a little bit. I want to get a 90. My total grade might be a B, depending on the teacher, it could be an A, by adjusting this one. So same kind of thing, but I put a higher value in there, and it's going to calculate it through, and it said, well, found a solution. I'd need to get 190 on the final. Not likely. 100% is probably the most we can do, so that's not going to work. They've got a couple more things in there. They've got an event planning tab. What they want us to do here, we've got a total budget. I'm forgetting what the total budget is. Let me go look again. Roll down a little bit. We've got a total budget of $500.
Okay. So
we want to see that we've got a reservation fee of $230. That's a set fee. And the cost per person is going to be $14.50. I want to figure out how many people can we get and stay within our budget of $500.
And that says 230. Should we change it to 500?
Well, 230 is what we've got right now. It's just pulling this in.
I see.
So we're going to be making our calculation in this cell. Let me see if they show it here. So we're wanting to calculate the number of guests here. So what we're doing is, let's see. Yeah, so right now we're at 230. It's a little different. So what we're actually going to have to do is, well, we'll get a number like this, probably say we can get 18 and a half people in there. We round up or down. I think we'd round down probably.
Half.
Or 2/3 of a person, 0.62. Okay, so I'll go back to here. So right now what this has is a calculation. So it's adding 230 plus 1450 times the number of guests. But we don't have a number of guests in there yet, so that's why it's, oops. So it's just showing the 230 right now. So I'm on the data tab. I'm going to go back to goal seek again. In B5, we want to max out at 500 by changing. So B4. So we got B5. Value we want to have in B5 is 500, and B4 will be the calculating space. Boom. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, that was good.
Whoops.
That's a good thing to know.
I just got rid of mine. I mean to do that.
A good thing you know how to do.
I did okay, and I didn't. So yeah, so we could do with this, and if again, we'd probably round it up. I'd probably just delete that and say, okay, 18 people. Okay, 491. Well, that's within our $500 budget. We got one more.
Gotta leave a tip there.
What's that?
Gotta leave a
You
tip.
leave a tip. Yeah. One more. We're trying to, in this case,
Yeah.
figure out. This is the sales average for a person. What are they going to need in June in order to make a goal? Let me go back to see what the goal is. It's written down, but okay. So they want to get to an average for the year of 200,000 per month. That is. And right now they've got the figures for those first. That's what they're going to give us. Okay. Well, now we know what we need to work with though. So we want this to be 200 is what we're aiming for. First off, there's no formula there, so we need to put a formula in there. So I'm going to start out with averaging, and basically want to average B2 to B7. So for that range there. So right now we're at 187,000. We want to get that up to 200,000 for the average. Go back to my data tab, what if analysis, goal seek. So in B8, we want a value of 200,000. Not 2 million, 200,000. I did 2 million one time. It got kind of crazy with it. And then by changing the values in B7. So B8, we want to set to 200,000 by changing what we put into B7.
261.
It took a little longer to calculate. In my case, you had 261, which is pretty aggressive. At 212 in May and 200 in April. Not too good January, February, March, unless
This
we're
is seasonal work of some sort.
Yeah.
maybe if we're at
Well, you know,
place that sells summer equipment,
Mhm.
pool supplies and stuff. Maybe we could do that.
or those year-end sales are
Yeah,
always come.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So what if you wanted more than one? You had 2 cells open, I guess you would just figure 1 cell and take the total and split it between the 2.
That's an interesting question. Let's see if I go back.
Say that, yeah,
And
say
we
like
don't
May
have
was-
May as well. I think, I'm not sure if it would work quite the same way. We got 181,000 average for those. Well, let's try it. I'm gonna just
Let's try.
see if, oops, I want to be there. I want this one to be 200,000. I got a hunch it's not going to quite work.
Well, I'm thinking what you could do is just take like May, figure out May and then split it between the 2 and then,
I'll do it for 1 month.
it won't let you enter 2 months, so,
Yeah.
oh, you can see if it does.
So we want this to be 200,000. changing, in this case,
I didn't say anything. Cross reference must have changed. So.
so 274,000 is what we need there for the average.
So then I guess you sit for your own, you know you have 2 months, so then you can split that between.
Well, if we
2
split it
months.
though, that'd be 130 some thousand. Wouldn't be quite enough to get us there. Right now, it's just averaging these 5 values, but if we added the,
Oh, because it's dividing by 5
yeah,
instead
except
of,
if I try to do that now, it's, let's see what it does.
well, if you put 0 in June, take that into consideration.
Changing, oops, I'm in the wrong place. It'd be there. It confuses them. More 0. I made something in this cell. 200,000. Yeah, we're already averaging 200,000 by making May
Yeah.
274,000.
Yeah, okay.
So you might have to put a 0 or something. Oh, you know, I don't know.
Put a 0 in this one.
In either one, June or May,
I think if we put a 0 in there,
they'll take it as a cell.
if I put 0 in there, yeah, it's already taking that now as average. There's first 5 things, so it's not 145,000. So I bet our June is probably going to be like 300,000 now, or something to get us up. Maybe we could
You
do
gotta
it.
be in, you gotta be in the mid-year cell.
Be in this one. We'll see. The value to be 200,000. I'm adjusting this cell. It's working in it. And that's gonna be pretty, 474,000.
Yeah, and so
So, yeah.
there was that too, before we were 274, so I guess if you really wanna figure out your May, June goal, we can split it by 2.
Yeah, so we'll.
So
we
May
could
and
do, say,
June goal would
okay,
be
let's say
475.
equals that divided by 2. Okay, 237,000 is what we need for each of those, and we can pop those in, and we still have our 200,000.
It was just a thought. It's just,
I know.
The interesting thing about what if, when we got functions and formulas, usually they show up in our function bar.
Mhm.
This doesn't show that because it's a separate calculation that we made. So you got to be aware that when we calculated this, or the earlier ones, it was doing that calculation, but not showing us an extra formula or function. It still shows just the average of those 6 cells. So like I said, we could take this and put it in both those cells. So yeah, okay, for 2 months, you need to average 237,000 each month
yeah.
to make your goal. Might have been a little easier. What was it for the 1 month? It was higher than that, wasn't it? I don't remember what day was now. I grew undo.
It was 261 or something. It's 261, it came out.
For June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty aggressive.
Mhm.
237 for both months
Mhm.
might be more doable.
Yeah, so like in April, I'm like, okay, now what do I need to do?
Yeah.
I got 2
Oh
months to
shoot,
go.
I got a long ways to go. Yeah. We saw by doing it the way I did there, need 200 on the average for May and June, 237,000. Okay. I've got a bunch of handouts.
Okay.
Did I give you these? I might have given you these. Anyway, I've only got 2 copies of this. This is basically the information that you need if you want to go for the Microsoft Office Specialist. Which
Oh,
is
okay,
actually on the
don't-
beginning of the book anyway.
That one I might not have.
Yeah, you gave us this last week.
Did I give you that one last
Oh,
time?
I wasn't here last week.
Okay, well, here you go.
I thought that's the exam I'm going.
Did I give you that last week?
Yeah, yeah. you
Okay. I've got this pile of stuff here and I'm not sure.
did. Yeah.
Didn't
Who's
paperclip all my stuff, so I knew.
And I did email out the new copy of the remote login
Yeah, I was looking at that.
with lots of different IP addresses in there. Unfortunately, and I haven't updated it for us, you'll have to pick and choose because you go to some of those and they don't have Microsoft Office on the computer, or you don't have the desktop files and folders. So there's only maybe half of those that are good that way.
Well, it defaulted to what I used before, so that worked.
Yeah, if you find a good
So
one.
I was gonna
it
start
saves- yeah.
keying some of them in. I'm like, well, why don't I just use the default?
Yeah, if
Went in there.
It saves what you just put in the last time. So if that works, yeah, stay with it. Otherwise, you might have to pick and choose the list. I'll probably come up with a shorter list eventually saying, okay, these 10 computers are good ones. Yeah. But I've got a new copy of this if you'd like it. Already, I sent the email to you.
Yeah,
so
good.
you probably got
Yeah, I think I printed it.
All right.
I mean, it's probably on my print.
it. Well, we already went through this, but here's a little summary of the what if analysis. I mean, the quick analysis, I'm sorry, not the what if.
Yeah, I got the quick.
Did I give you that one?
Maybe not. I didn't.
And I did have a thing about goal seek, but you can see where it was in there. I printed up a hard copy of the instructions if you're interested in that. I mean, we just went through it, but if you'd like a copy of that. I made them up.
Is this quick
I
analysis?
like trees, but I also like,
I was just thinking that.
he's not a tree hugger. He's giving us all this paper. He just cut down another tree.
This talks about scenarios a little bit, so it kind of expands on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Gives another example. Other types of what analysis. So that's good.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I don't know if I gave you that one.
That's one I had.
Okay.
Oh, it's not. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Now,
I have this one.
we're going to go into macros, but we're going to do a sort of an easier version of
That's
it.
why I don't want to say that.
Okay. Donna and I met before we actually formally
class.
started, and we went through some of these advanced topics.
But it doesn't have to go through.
Did I give you one about macros? Okay.
I don't know if I have that one. I'm called macros.
I'm going to give you a few different handouts on macros from a couple different sources. I'll give you this one.
You may want to phone your mother and tell her the good news.
No, I don't have that one.
That's funny. Mom, guess
Some-
what?
Some of these
She's
are
like,
kind
"What
of
the hell are you
redundant or
talking
repetitious because they cover a lot of the same things. This one covers some of the same things too. We're going to play with and create just a simple macro.
Skip these because I don't know what I got.
So what we're actually going to do is the instruction sheet I'm going to give you now. Yeah, and I might have given you that last time too.
Yeah, that one I have.
So what we're going to start with is just bring it up on a blank Excel. And there's some stuff that's simple in macros and some stuff that's more complex.
So can we get out of the ones that we were in?
Yeah, close everything else and just bring up a nice blank. That's interesting. My computer has QuickBooks up here too, which is a whole nother class, but there's a QuickBooks set of links, I guess, into Excel that you can use. I'm going to go into my more command zone and change that a little bit, so I don't really need to see QuickBooks. I'll just uncheck it. If you look at, typically what we have up there is, the usual stuff, home and insert, page layout, formulas and stuff. There is a button for developer, and I'll just turn it on for now just so you can see what it looks like. But we don't need it to do macros, because actually under the View tab, way over on the right is a button for macros.
Okay.
And this allows us to do the basic things. We can view any macros that were created in there, or we could record a macro. That's what we're going to do with this one. So I've got some specific instructions in there. The nice thing about recording macros is you can take 20 minutes or 30 minutes to do it, even if it's just a few little things, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. Or I could go halfway through it, I made a mistake, back up and change it,
Okay.
And it
And
would be in
once
the-
it has it, then it's gonna run it like that.
Yeah.
What you mean by back up is like undo.
well, yeah, or I'm going in, I've done 2 or 3 things in there, and oh, that 4th thing was wrong. Let me back up and change it. So you could actually change it while still recording. That would be wrong in the macro, but then it's going to correct it when I do the
Oh,
correction. So, I mean, it's better to do it clean, but
Mhm.
you can actually get away with that. So, first thing I want to do is
That's
just,
how complex it is, I guess.
I'm going to go to that macro button and say record macro. It'll bring up the name of a macro. In this case, we don't need to name it. We'll just leave it with the default. I'm going to click OK. So now I'm recording. First thing, I want to go to E5 and put my name in there. And then go to E7 and put in today's date. I think if I do 11/27, that might be, that worked. Although it defaulted to doing one of these custom date things with just 27-November. That's okay. Could change it. I guess we'll just leave that. And actually, I just realized I did the thing wrong. We're supposed to do that before we start recording. Let me stop the macro. Now my record macro went away and I got to stop recording. So I stopped my recording. I'm going to start over now. So record macro. It's now macro 3. And it's just a bunch of silly things I put together here. But what we want to do is just to show you that you can do a bunch of these different things. And then the next time you pull up this macro, you can just click on it and it will do all this stuff for you. So I'm going to go to my name cell and change the font style to Magento. A weird one. That's why I used it. Or Magneto, not Magento. And then I want to change the font to blue. Use the standard blue. I want to change the size to 36 font. Make it big. Wing. And I want a fill color in there too, so I'm going to make it yellow. Now right now it looks kind of funny, it's just in that one box. I also want to put a thick outside border around the date. So let me go down to that for a minute. So thick outside border around the date. I usually just use black for this, but there's actually a section at the bottom where we could change the colors. It's kind of funny though, because it works a little different than what we think it should work. Change the border color to blue, so I'm going to choose blue, but it actually turns it into a little pencil. I actually have to click on the different edges to change them. It's kind of weird. It just automatically changed the box to blue. And I'm going to go to column E and change the width. So column width, I'm going to make it 50. So I just went to column E, clicked on E, and right click on E.
Change it to
50.
50. Okay.
And if that's not enough, yours is real wide. If you want to make it 100, that's fine too. Or you can just stretch it out if you want to. We're going to alter it a little bit more anyway. Okay, because now what we're going to do with our name box is angle it clockwise. Angle it clockwise is going to flip it a little bit. It's interesting, right now in mine I can see it's got the bottom alignment but no center left or right. If I wanted to move it over in the box a little bit more, I could do that. But that's not in your instructions. But I like to center things, so that's why I like to do that.
How did you do that? Style?
On the home tab under alignment, just showing the bottom button there, but not left, center, or right. So when I took it on the center, then I moved it over. It was kind of sitting like this.
I meant the angle.
Oh, the angle? There's this little button
there it
in the
is.
alignment section called orientation. Now for the date, let's make the date bigger. I want to add a additional formatting flag to it. Under the icon sets, flag, there's only one thing there, so I made it green. There's nothing to compare with. And I want to put a thick outside border around the date. Oh, I already did that. Well, I think I did the, oh, my instructions are goofy. Should have done it up here, but I did it down here already. So I'm going to put a thick border around my name. And because I changed it to blue earlier, actually it already changed it to blue. I did say in my instructions to change it to red, but I think that's probably good enough. That's enough things. So I'm going to go back to my View tab and Macros and stop recording. Now, just for fun, I'll bring up another blank sheet. Start out the way I should have started the first time. E5, put my name in there. And put the date in E7. You know, there was a, oh, that doesn't work. Formula in I used to use will give you the current date. I think it's equals now. Well, anyway, never mind that.
I'm sorry, I lost. Where are we now?
A new spreadsheet, a new tab,
new one.
new sheet. And just the same thing we did to start with, our name in E5 and the date in E7. And now I'm going to go to the data, the View tab in the macros. I'm going to view my macros. I actually got a couple ones in there, but I want to just use, I remember it was macro 3 in my case, maybe macro 1 or 2 in your case. I just choose it and click run. And boom, and then
Yeah.
it does it all. Now, again, I know this is a silly combination of things, but it just shows you, especially when you got like a weekly report, you get a data dump on Monday, and you have to do 30 things to it.
Right.
You could actually, I mean, you can plot it out on paper first if you want to.
Yeah, if
By
you get
working
some
it in
kind
there.
of flat file or something.
Yeah, you get a flat data file.
What's a flat data file?
It's like Excel, but it's not in Excel. It's just numbers or
Oh,
rows of.
Or you do a
Savings.
download from
Yeah.
your bank statement and you
Yeah,
want
okay.
to run a
okay.
or macro. I can see doing that because I'm always doing the same thing
Yeah, yeah,
with my download of the bank statement.
yeah. Makes sense. It's probably a good idea. Where if there were certain things always in certain boxes, like you wanted to have total
Or my
bold
credit-
and really stand out.
Or my credit card statement.
Maybe you can have some formulas in there to either add up or average things. Or
Like the category, different
Yeah.
categories and stuff in my credit card statement or something. I can see doing that.
Yeah.
I should do this.
So that's a little bit about macros. Very little bit about macros.
You know, I'm always sorting the file and then I'm like
Yeah.
Yeah.
categorizing it, summing.
So that's actually all I wanted to do with this one, so I'm not going to save it. And I think it's about time for a break.
Okay.
You like a break? I'm going to jump into pivot tables. And actually, we'll be back in GCF Form Fix. It actually has some good stuff about pivot tables. Just we turn the heat down a little bit in here. especially with the projector going.
I was taking the jacket off, but I'm comfortable now.
I came in with a heavy jacket, sweater.
I got a
Sweater came
million
up.
layers.
And I was sitting in the car, I'm taking my coat off, I'm taking my coat
Okay,
off.
but
I'm like 3 hours in the car.
Aisha, A-I-S-H-A, Sharif, S-H-A-R-I-F. H-A-S. Yes. If you want the office one, I do. 413. You can call me, Ali. Okay. You want my email or
one thing I like about the Gurney office, we actually had 2 coolers there. One is unplugged,
Oh, okay.
which just has cool water.
That's very cool.
And also it's handy for making coffee because it's got a bigger spout and it comes out faster.
Oh,
This one,
Yeah.
hold here to make a full pot of coffee. I've timed it now because I sit there. It takes about 1.5 minutes to fill it with water.
Wow.
That's,
yeah.
Yeah, I drink the hot water, so.
yeah.
This is
It's TJ.
I'm
TJ
supposed
does.
to leave some signed forms today, and I don't.
Well, we can ask TJ if they're here. It might be on Paul's desk. I could actually just take a glance in there.
I was seeing if you left me an email, but I didn't. Shoot, you didn't sign the second line.
You need a signature on that.
Yeah, I need to sign here. Oh, maybe you can just sign it.
It's funny. Half
You can just sign your name as though I,
Need instructor's signature. Others on Paul's.
Yeah, well, this one is for Salesforce, which I haven't really, self-study one, which I haven't started yet, but I have to show that I've been attending.
Okay.
Well, he signed this week, so this is just for this last week. Gotta figure out how to,
That date. That date, but it's 27th. These caseworkers run on that. Some caseworkers say,
well, I
they
couldn't
don't
have
even ask for the
originals.
sheets. They say, well, just, let me know how you're doing. I know when I was a student, my caseworker wanted every 2 weeks form sent to her by snail mail.
Oh, wow.
We didn't even fax or
Yeah.
scan it at that time. It's like, oh, fine, okay, whatever. So wasted an envelope and a stamp doing
Well,
that.
Paul and I did it once through email, but then he called me, I need the original. This is good enough for me to submit, but I need the original on file, so.
Oh.
And I signed one version, he signed another, so we had a combined version, so I had to have him, I had to get the originals from him and
Back and then,
or have him
Oh,
re-sign
boy.
the original, so it was, so I thought, okay, I'll just email it before I sign it, then I'll sign it. But I think we're gonna have to do snail mail for the rest of them.
That's funny. Donna, I think I gave you these, but I gave you some things about PowerPoint. Pivot tables.
Yeah. I got something for pivot tables.
Okay, these are actually in GCF Learn Free again. It's in the basic section, I think. Yeah. Oh, no, not sharing. Turn that on. It's going to be way down there. Well, not quite as far as the what-if analysis. It's going to be right above the what-if analysis. Go to pivot tables and doing more with pivot tables. I just found the thing yesterday. They may share it with you via email. There's this fellow named Casper, I'm forgetting his last name now, who's handing out a lot of free training on various subjects. And some are kind of interesting. He has one on pivot tables. I made a PDF of his introduction. It was 69 pages, so I haven't done anything else with it. He also has practice files with it. So what he likes to do is help people work with it, and play with it. The file that I just looked briefly at the file. The file has about 20 tabs in it. Jeez. And a lot of stuff's already set up in it. So it'd be more, well, it's a variety of things, I think, because you're creating a number of different pivot tables using some different tabs in that file. Kind of interesting, but I don't have that fully put together yet. So
69 pages, yeah.
yeah. Oh, and one thing I do have for you, which is actually from Colorado State. Did I give you this one? My TTC. Anyway, it's a good little reference summary, I think, on not only pivot tables but also the Excel tables that we played with earlier.
Yeah, this thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go into number 27 first, which is the intro to pivot tables.
Foundation, creating opportunities.
One of the best things about Excel is the fact that a single worksheet can hold so much information. In fact, you could fill billions of cells if you needed that much room. A file with that much data could get pretty overwhelming. There's a feature called pivot tables that can help. Pivot tables let you summarize and manipulate data without actually changing anything in the worksheet. Let's take a look at how they work. In this example, I have some company sales data with columns for the salesperson, region, account, order amount, and mark. And I need to find the answer to a very specific question. What is the amount sold by each salesperson? Because each salesperson has data on more than one row, I normally have to add these up in order to find the answer. But a pivot table can do this for us automatically, which will make the task much easier. First, you need to select your data. You can just click any cell if it's formatted as a table. Otherwise, you need to select all the cells yourself, and don't forget your column headers. When you're ready, go to the Insert tab, then click the Pivot Table command. You'll usually want to place your pivot table on a new worksheet, so make sure this option is selected. Then click OK, and a new sheet will appear. Over on the left is our blank pivot table. It's okay that there's nothing there yet. To the right is a list of fields that have actually been pulled from our column headers. This is where we control what is or isn't displayed in the pivot table. But before we continue, let's take another look at the question. What is the amount sold by each salesperson? This question tells us exactly which fields to use to find out the answer: salesperson and order amount. All you have to do is check the box next to the field, and it will be added to one of the areas below, in this case, the rows category. Another method is to drag and drop the field into place. We'll put this one under value. If we go back to the pivot table, now we can see the information we've been looking for. In other words, the amount sold by each salesperson. So our question has been answered just by choosing what fields to use. One of the best things about pivot tables is how easy they are to modify, so you can view and analyze different things. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to know each person's monthly sales, not just their total sales. Just drag the month field down here to columns, and this will add a column for each month on the worksheet. If we wanted to know what each region sold, we could take out the month and salesperson fields, and then drag region down to rows. So each time we change the fields, the pivot table is just combining the source data in a different way, so we can view the information we need. And we're doing all of this without adding or changing anything in the original worksheet. You can even experiment by dragging the fields into different areas, but some combinations work better than others. For instance, if I move order amount over to columns or rows, you can see that it doesn't really give us any useful data. Since order amount contains numerical values, it really does work best in the values area. Finally, if we click the arrow next to order amount and go to value field settings, we can change the function to something other than sum. Instead, we can count the number of cells, calculate the average, or use any of the other options here. Some of these functions will be more useful than others depending on your data, so that's just something to keep in mind. In our next video, doing more with pivot tables, we're going to talk about report filters. We'll also take a look at slicers and pivot charts, which can give you even more ways to work with your pivot table.
I think I want to talk about how this is linked to the material that you took the pivot table off of. So when you make a change on the original document, it's going to change the pivot table.
You'll automatically do that.
Well,
As long as it's, in this case, she built off of that one chart or spreadsheet.
But you don't have to physically go in and link them.
I need to relink it.
So does it matter if you did a table versus just selecting rows? Like if you added rows into that, it probably would just,
It wouldn't know that, yeah, so then you'd have to change your database.
so you're better off doing a table and inserting rows within the table so it knows.
Yeah, although it's interesting because I think in this example, now this is already a table. I can see it's a table because up here I see table tools. If this wasn't a table,
Yeah.
then it would be more important. I want to just take away, convert it into a range. Sure. Yep. So as a range, actually, as long as it's consistent, we don't have a space or anything in here, they'll probably still understand that this is going to be something we want to do as a whole. And in this case, it actually checked, even not as a table, took the range A1 to E40. I got a hunch E40 is probably the last thing in there. Yeah. Even as, and we'll see this, there's actually some examples of this in our exercises in geometrics too. So even without being a table,
It will default to the
yes,
range of
this
the
is-
values.
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
this must
so
be what you
if we
want.
create the pivot table, I think to her question,
Mhm.
and then we add another row at the end, will I
Right.
include that last row?
No, because
'Cause
it
it's
was already set
range.
to A1 to E40.
But if you, but versus a table, if you added a row to the table. Original
Yeah, it'll be pulled in there.
Yeah.
And one of the things we can do too, well, I'm going to go ahead and set it up this way without having it as a table. Okay, and it shows the right range there. So I clicked on insert pivot table and said, okay, you must want first quarter sales A1 to E40. Yeah, sounds good. As you mentioned, we can default it to putting in another worksheet. That often makes it less confusing. If it was a small one, we might keep the table here and have the chart or the pivot table on the same one. But I'll do like she did and put another. And so set it up on another. And we've got this blank table here and it shows different things we can do. And on the right side, this is the typical view that I think is easiest to work with. So it's got our 5 headers from salesperson and region and everything. And as you point out, we could just click on the box and it would actually create that thing over in our pivot table. In this case, the list of the people. You can drag and drop too. So in this case, I bet if I click on this, it's going to put it under values anyway, because it's going to guess, well, that's values. So you probably want that under values. You want to pull this up too and play with it? Have you
Yeah,
already
I'm
done this?
watching.
Oh,
No,
okay, you
just
can watch too.
Sometimes I watch and then
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm too busy doing it and then I lose track of what you're doing.
So to our point though, like right now, if I go over here and now it's not a pivot table, but I'll just add in me in the South region. Oh, they're keeping William Davis in. Oh, I'll keep it.
Zero. Oh, there it is. Right.
So I'm just going to add in, oops, copy, paste, and I'm just going to borrow Walter's information. Well, he's got a lot there, doesn't he? I'll just take his, I'll just take this from, stealing from him. Paste. If I go back to my pivot table, by the way, sheet 1 doesn't tell me anything, so I always rename that pivot table or something that would make more sense. Otherwise, you see sheet 1, you know, a lot of times that's just a blank sheet, but this one, of course, isn't. It's got that stuff in there. So right now, I just have the basic information that went down to line 40. Up here, we've got pivot table tools. We've got 2 there. One's called Analyze, and one's called Design. Design, we can change, just kind of like we did with tables before. We can use different styles, show different things. We could have banded rows in there, some of the same kinds of things. And a column, 2 columns doesn't do much. And it rows doesn't, well, a little bit. And under Analyze, there's a thing called Change Data Source. And right now it's going to say, well, this is what we wanted. You wanted this. I could have a table even in another file that I could pull in. What I think I would do is probably just, I know I could edit it, because right now it's E40. If I just make it E44, and say, click OK. Oh, Keith Davis got pulled in now.
Okay.
So it automatically pulled me in. Now, if this was, now, I got me curious. So if this was a table already, so let me back up. Red Keith. Read my pivot table. And then change this back to format as table. I gave it a very simple design there, but I see I got the table tools showing up here, so I can make it more colorful or something if I wanted to. About like that. There we go. So as a table then, if I do insert pivot table, in this case, they called it table 1, so okay, we use table 1 in there. Yeah, it looks kind of similar. We still have the same kinds of things here. And I probably bring salesperson there and amount there. And as she pointed out in the video, some combinations will work better than others. If I had the amount under the salesperson, well,
It's hard to read.
Yeah,
You don't know what the numbers
Kathy's
stand
got those numbers. And if you think back about when we did the tables, this would be an ideal place just to use the table and format it and put in the totals and things like that. Like I went back to this guy and I'm trying to, data. It's a simple this one group. It's not showing subtotal. Okay. I was going to use subtotal just to do the old-fashioned way where we get the extra lines in here where it show the totals for the amount, things like that. Anyway, back to this guy. So this view isn't real helpful. By the way, when things are like this, you can actually change the order of things. So it's actually put the amount above person. And it reversed everything over here, which is even less helpful.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably go, no, that's not good. Let's move that back over there again. To point out, we can add different things in here very easily. And the column one is kind of nice. So like she pulled month down under column. That way we can see by month how much each person sold and still have the grand total. Say we didn't want salesperson, but we wanted accounts. We got the account numbers in there, which for me, maybe this would be helpful. We know that this account sold quite a bit. This one sold quite a bit. Those are accounts that we want to make sure we keep those folks happy and keep selling to them. We might look at, we only sold $25 to this account. Maybe we need to go talk to them, offer them a new catalog or some discounts or something. Pivot tables set up things with these extra filter buttons on it too. So like if we didn't want to see everything, if we just want, just kind of like we had with other tables, we just want to see March, for instance. We could do that, collapse it down to just that kind of view. We didn't want to see all the accounts, we just want to see a certain range. We could even do something like that. When greater than or equal to 50,000. Oh, there aren't any. Oh, I did values. Okay, I didn't mean to do values. I wanted to do that. All right, well, forget that one. Again, accounts may be important for, the sales manager and stuff like that. Just point out too, we could take that out and do it by region. And that might be an interesting thing too, to say, oh, South region really sold a lot. They're doing quite well. We could actually have region and salesperson if we want to do that. Then we get a breakdown. This helps us see a couple things. It's interesting to me that the totals are above. So like 350 plus 350 is at 700 rather than having it below. We could also see why, in part, why South did so good, because they had 3 salespeople as opposed to 2 or 1. See, Shannon didn't do very good no matter what, but at least you guys, gals didn't do so well either. But Tia and Chris were the big salespeople for March, so that's why South is standing out so good in March. So a lot of different ways we can slice and dice the data.
I guess what just threw me is the word pivot. So I just looked it up online. So what does pivot mean? It means at the turn, you pivot on the wheel. But this says the point at which all the numbers rotate around. So if you have a data set, a table, that's what it's rotating around.
Yeah, all these things are building off.
Why is it called pivot?
Yeah.
Does that mean it's not turning? But it is.
Yeah, I don't know where that term originally came from. But it's basically saying we're just taking this data and turning it around a lot of different ways.
Yeah, then you can turn it around.
Yeah. This table at the side here, if you don't want to see, you can actually close it. There's actually other ways to look at it too, but I think, yeah, if you're in white space, it'll disappear too. But if you're in the pivot table, it'll show up. And there are actually some different ways to view this, but I think this particular view is fairly straightforward because you got your headers here, you can drag them down to different things here. One thing they didn't do, like filter here, if we put filter here for accounts, let's see account line way up at the top here, and we could actually, if we wanted to filter on, instead of everything, we just want to see the over 4,000 numbers. And click on those accounts. And, in March, I think we're still in March. Not much was sold there. So
can you combine two tables then? Two data sets?
Yeah. So in our original setup, when we set this up, rather than that A1 to E40, but A1 E40, comma,
And
and
then
then maybe
another
another sheet,
Okay.
another workbook even.
Okay.
That's one thing that, especially with Power Pivots, which I'm just beginning to learn a little bit more about. Power Pivot allows you to pull in databases.
Yeah.
Which I know you were talking about. And with Power Pivot, you could have a database that has millions and millions of lines and throw it into something like this and actually be able to do the same kind of manipulation we're doing here with this simple one. And
Yeah, that would be good.
I have some handouts on that too on Power Pivots that are links, probably links. I probably just send you the links. It's probably easier that way. So you don't need a lot more paper. You already cut down enough trees, right? So this is this one. Actually, this view might be helpful too. By the way, you probably noticed this, but the column widths are always set by whatever the longest title is in here. So column labels made January wider than these other two. I typically like to make them all kind of similar, so I'd probably do something to make them all the same width.
Can you change the column labels?
I do what?
Change the column labels, like the names are usually, mine says just row labels now. Why didn't it? I'm surprised it didn't.
One of the things
salesperson.
Yeah, one of the things I sometimes do with this, especially when you get a long title, is I'll do a wrap text and then shrink them in. So like I shrink this in. You don't necessarily need to shrink this first one in, but if I did, you could stack up sum of order amount column labels. And then I could make like B, C, and D columns, a width that I like. This is maybe, how wide is that? 10.2. I might say, well, let's make it 9. I'll make these two also 9. Now it's more something, more in order. Even with grand
Well,
total.
it says row labels. Now that's really salesperson. So can you change that to salesperson?
Row labels. Actually, this particular case is in my thing here. Region was actually the first thing.
Regions, but in ours it was.
Yeah, so if I move the sales people back above region, still row labels, but it's talking about in this case salespeople. Because if you click on the filter, you'd see okay, we got the name smaller people there. Yeah, so this is kind of a generic term, I guess you'd say. Oh, I like one of the things you pointed out too. Now, right now, this is a sum. under the values, as she pointed out, we can change that by using the value field settings. Say I wanted to know the average.
Well, what I did is I left the sum there and then I added it again and got average. So it allows you to do duplicates and then I dragged order amount down again
Oh, okay.
and it did sum or something.
So you had order amount in there twice?
Yeah.
Sum and average? Oh,
So then it gave me sum and average.
that's cool. I'm gonna get rid of all those.
You got a lot there. Oh, because you're because you're by region, that's why.
Better see whole numbers. And then I probably shrink these. Yeah, in this row here, I'd probably make that wrap text so that it wasn't spread out so much. Well, that's cool. I like the fact too that when you change whatever you're doing, like in this example, it shows sum for that one column and it shows the average for this column. But it looks like they're the same number. Well, not quite the same numbers. This is different.
But we don't have the breakdown.
Yeah, we don't have the
little
whole thing. I'm
exercise.
guessing in this case that Bill Davis probably had 2 months worth of information or something.
Yeah.
You know, we could always go back and look at Bill Davis. In February, he had something in each month. Bill Davis. We add up those four values, it's $1,935. So something doesn't make sense.
Well, you got the breakdown by month too. It might be
Oh,
breaking
that's
things
right,
down.
yes, I got, okay, yeah. If I went way over here and looked at it, then I'd see, you know, there's that 1935,
Yeah.
and the average of 483. Okay, well, that's enough on this one, so we'll go to the next topic, which is doing more with pivot tables. I sometimes forget about this one. Show half the things they show in there in the first group, but it's okay. Get it twice. Not hearing anything. This problem before. I was trying to do it right. It's the same problem we had before. So we had it fixed. Well, I could let you watch it, or I could just show you what she's going to show us. So I think I'll open up the practice workbook, which is actually going to look pretty similar to the one we just worked with. So she's already got the simple table here set up region and sum by region. Now what she's going to show in this one is a couple of different things. We can use slicers. And under the Analyze tab for Table Tools, slicers will show up. You can actually create a slicer for any category you want. Basically what it is like a mini filter. So I added salesperson. Creates this little slicer with all the people in it. And right now we got everything selected, but if I just selected one person, another, it would give us just that person's information. And we can actually use the shift key on the keyboard to choose a range. As you see, it keeps adjusting as we do these different things. You can also use the control key if you wanted to choose different people that work consecutive. And as I recall, Chris Walter and Pia that were in, yeah, they're in the South region, so I could just get the South region information there. this little filter clear box, so we should put it back to everybody. It's kind of a simple view, so I might want to add in names or months. Maybe just months for now. So I got to
Did you insert a pivot table?
pivot table's already there.
So how'd you get the salesperson thing over there?
So in the pivot table up top here under the Analyze tab, I went to Insert Slicer. And it gives you all the different headers. And you could actually have more than one slicer if you want. Like if you wanted a monthly slicer, you could have that in there too. Slicers basically are just an easy view of your filter. So now I've got it set up like this, but if I just click on January here, then my view collapses down to that. I don't have salespeople in there, so I might rather have salespeople and maybe make January, February, March column thing. So I think I will. I'll make that a column thing and bring salespeople back into our view. I've got a little cluttered here, so I'm going to move these guys over a little bit. So now I know the sales by region, by month, by person. And we've actually still got the capability over here if I wanted to, but just see the South region or something like that. I could have created another slicer for regions too. I get to the point where if you create a whole bunch of them, it gets a little cluttered though. For this case, like, I just want to see March, pretty easy to just filter by March, January. If you want to see certain people too, you do that too. So that's what slicers do. Now, she also talked in there about creating a pivot chart, which is similar to the charts we created in the book earlier. So I'm going to go to Insert. Let's see, I'm on the pivot table first. Insert, and beyond our chart section, you may have noticed this over time that there's a pivot chart button too. And the pivot chart button basically brings up all the things we've already played with before in charts. Maybe I'll just use.
How'd you get the charts?
Pardon me?
Where'd you get the?
Under the Insert tab at the top, you have the charts about the middle of the Insert tab, and just to the right of those charts is pivot chart.
Okay.
And I'll just use their example. That's cluster column chart. And the interesting thing about this that's different from our other charts is it also has the filters built in here too. So right now with this button for region, I can filter on just the South region if I wanted to. We've already got the South showing up there. I've got lots of stuff showing up here. So we got the months over here. Right now we're doing the sum here. So it basically shows everything we've got in this. If we change this, I'm going to get rid of my I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of my slicers right now just to give more room. And I clicked on something that I need to. Oh, I just got Kathy Albertson now. I want to see everybody again. Do that. And we can change things either in the pivot table or the pivot chart. If we change it in the pivot chart, like if I just want to see, I don't want to see everybody. I want to see a few of them. It changed it in the pivot table, but also changed it in the chart. So I just see Kathy and Bill and Richard. Similar to what we could do now you see pivot chart tools up here. I've actually got 3 tabs up here for that. There's an analyze, design, format tab. So we do pretty much the same things we did with simple charts, the pivot chart. We got the switch row and column thing too, which I think is kind of neat. So right now we got by region and then month. If I do the switch row and column, now I've got it by month. And over here that shows the other stuff about East, Kathy Albertson, South, Bill Davis. So a lot of different ways we can play with it. And even here with,
I'm really having a hard time following.
oh yeah, am I going too fast, bouncing around?
I was watching and then I decided to watch and not do because then I'd lose what you were doing. So I have no idea what.
So you've got your pivot chart here. So you've got all these different buttons on the side here. So you can actually do filtering for month, filtering for salespeople, or regions.
What are you talking about?
In your chart here,
Yeah.
you've got all these filters. So if you want to click on region or salespeople,
Yeah.
you can deselect and say you just want south or north. And okay. And then it changes it there. You just have north, and in this case, Shannon Thompson's the only one, I guess, in north.
Yeah. I didn't get all this design and all that stuff, how you got there.
Well,
I
up
went
here
to
we've got-
design and I didn't have the same stuff you had. Now I do.
Yeah, you've got under design and format, we can do changing the colors, changing the backgrounds, all those kinds of things, or use these
Or
preset
this
styles.
didn't even pop up.
Yeah, and then what I did too is I went to switch row and column. Now it's got it by month, and over here then we got the region and salesperson. But again, a lot of different ways. And now you're similar to what I have, except I had a few more people on there. Right now I just have one person.
Oh, yeah, we have North.
And another thing too, which I like what that's showing, if you're not filtering anything, it'll just have a little triangle, but if you've got a filter on, then it'll show the little funnel in there too. Like over here, I'm just on certain things, so filter button, things that
Okay.
little funnel next to it showing, yep, you're doing something there. That view there might be more handy because it's showing everybody and showing how much they did per month. So you can see that Michael Brennan had a great January, I guess, and then not so good
Yeah.
the rest of the year.
Okay. I think I've got it.
Yeah, showing it by month this way doesn't help too much. And also, I'm noticing something here. I don't think this isn't quite a complete list over here, so the legend's not showing everybody. I bet if I drag this, make it larger. East, north, south. Yeah, now I got everybody. It was actually chopping off a couple of things in here. And where am I? Oh, okay, so right now I got it by month. If I wanted it by people, I can do that quick switch there, the switch row and column. Now I've got it by people and showing their 3-month totals in there. So I say Chris Walter, great February. Shannon, great January. He dropped off quite a bit for the next 2 months. that enough about pivot tables?
I was goofing around with the different designs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's lots of ways you can do it. I like that. You got a bar chart.
I did a bar, I did a surface, that was crazy.
Yeah, the surface chart. To me, it's, yeah, it's,
In the mountains.
the surface chart, I've used that a couple of times, but yeah, it does make things look a little strange. What happened there? Well, it looks like this is the peak of our mountain now. Walter and Chris have those heavy hitters, but yeah, it's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm. I was just moving around.
I do like combo charts sometimes, but in this case, didn't know what to do with it. So I clicked on combo. So, okay, you want January, February, but we'll make a line then out of March. Well, that's not real helpful. I don't know if I showed you, we did staffing charts quite often when I worked for Motorola, and we would have a monthly plan and actual staffing, and then we'd have a cumulative curve. So it was a combination chart. It would show how many staffing. It had two things in it, actually, the actual plan staffing and the actual staffing.
Okay.
When we were really good, see the plan and actual going together. It actually wasn't completely true. So I'll just, did I show that one too?
Yeah, you did. I remember that was good.
Yeah, because the one that was near the end of its life looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look closely at it, you see that the plan was always greater than the actuals during the first half of the work.
Yeah.
And then the actuals were greater in the second half when we're playing catch up.
Why was that? I mean, is it hiring practices or getting people up to speed or what was that?
Because it was fairly complex, because we'd have maybe 50 or 60 projects going on at the same time that would be in one program. And sometimes people would still be working on
Oh,
previous
yeah, I see.
work from other projects. It wasn't always a clean shift. Which was funny because I know there were other people, there were certain programmers, well, I'm tired of this one, I want to start on the new stuff. So they would start on the new stuff and not necessarily keep working on that older stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down now. I know you have the Excel expert. Donna, did I give you the Excel expert book too?
No, I don't think so.
If you want it, chapter 4 in the Excel expert book goes through some of this stuff too.
Okay.
Like one? Would you like one? It goes into more about doing more with pivot charts and pivot tables.
Used to put all those layers on.
Oh, Lord. I'm sitting still, but at any moment now, I can change my mind.
I know, I probably brought it to your attention.
Yeah. That's some cool.
Every once in a while, it just hits me.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So chapter 4 is what?
Chapter 4, 4.2 and 4.3 you have more about creating and managing pivot tables and charts. As a matter of fact, I could give you this sheet, which might be helpful. This is kind of my summary of the topics and where things were that we've gone through.
Okay.
I'll do that at our next break.
Because right now, that's like just a paragraph at the end of the school schedule or class schedule. So that's more detailed. Okay.
Yeah, we're ahead advanced topics on the schedule.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. I got like a list of the things that
Oh, yeah.
kind of what we're going through in here, but also has the page references in the Excel expert book. And tasks for 4.2 and 4.3 kind of go through some similar stuff to what we did with the tables. So we sometimes use that in class. This is Excel Expert 4-2, the worksheet they had in there. It's called Invoices. In the book, this is actually the tasks on page 162. I think this might give us a little touch more. They actually get in some other fancy things in here, which I don't normally cover. They actually get in some calculation columns in the pivot table. They actually do some things like that. So, I'm just going to show you this. I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but it's actually got an additional column that was added in to calculate bonuses for everyone. And you can kind of see that only 3 people got bonuses. That salesperson group. So anyway, we've got this table of invoices, and I see at the top I got the table tools, so it's already in the table format. They want us to actually change the name of the file or the worksheet from invoices to by salesperson. I'm sorry, no, they don't. They want us to insert the pivot table and name it by salesperson. In this case, the table range has a name to it. It's table underscore Northwind underscore invoices. And if we followed it around, probably see it takes in the whole range of stuff we got here. Pretty good range. Number of things. I guess we'll go up. Well, I guess we'll do it over here. Over 1,000 lines. And put in a new worksheet. And this is the one where they want us to rename it by salesperson. Salesperson. And you can see with this one, we've got a lot of different headers and columns in there. It wants to summarize the values of extended price field by salesperson. So put salesperson under rows. And extended price, some of that right over here. I think it's interesting in pivot tables, it very often loses, I mean, it's just numbers here, but I would probably rather have that as currency or something like that, so possibly change that. This is the one where they wanted us to add a calculating column. I am not as familiar with it, so I'm not going to go into that. But basically, we'd be actually creating a new part here, which was what they showed in this one. It doesn't show, look over here, it shows sum of bonus. It's actually a little bit more work to create this one. what they've actually done here is gone back to the invoices sheet and created another pivot table. You can actually create a lot of pivot tables if you want off of one set of data. In this case, they want us to create another one. So insert a pivot table. Instead of sheet 2, we're going to call it by category. And what the quantity field, both county, region fields. County region, country region, I mean. There's a row, category is field. Doesn't quite make sense to me. How about category? Remove category there. Let's count a category. That doesn't quite make sense.
Maybe counts.
That doesn't look too good. Summarizes the values. If I put category up there, maybe extended price, we've got more information there. A slicer in there too. So I'm actually going to take a peek at by category over here. Is what they had here. Actually, we've been mostly using simple slicers, but there's actually one that's called a timeline that you can add into that will show you over time different parts and see if we can actually kind of certain month get the totals just for that one particular time, or see everything. So they put the different categories here, and they put the countries across the top of this view. I think I'll just give you a visual of this. So the last thing they asked us to do in there is break it down by unit price in $10 increments. So this is another interesting one where they've added in actually some calculations to figure out the unit prices that were $0 and $10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so forth. And then the quantity they sold in each. So you can see that the 10 to 20 range was, well, they sold a lot. They sold, actually these first 4 here, that's a lot of their total. That's 22,000 things right there. So that's quite big. Yet if we added in 40 to 50, 23,597, that's a big chunk of it. I think I just want to do that little demo on that. It's probably time for a break. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And we're going to go into VLOOKUPs after a break.
Okay.
And we have one little example of VLOOKUP in one of those geometric
Yes,
things.
one of the drills, yep. I
Yeah.
sure did. It's like, oh man, he showed me this and I'm trying to flip through and you know what? I just put a marker on that one.
A marker?
Yeah. It's like, forget it. Thank you. I just put a marker on that one. It's like, ah. Sun's coming out, huh?
Is it? Nice.
Sure. We got it cheaper.
How many licenses?
Had one on parity.
Was it 6?
Me too this morning.
You got 6 of them.
It's, I thought it'd be more like a paper materials. And it's actually a little bit larger than the old books. Yeah. I think that's all. It's done up. The old one's in there, but it's got a sheet over for.
This is more pressure.
I understand great portion.
That's all.
You are thinking yes.
Yeah, this is the main chart.
Lady went to Summits, 217, came up with cents. So what they did was basically one of our roles to take a bunch of all of that.
I think there is a, I believe we have it,
We're also,
but there are some sticky glue like.
oh, like, plastic tag.
Yeah. There is something coming like that. This is what it was. Yeah, those are more. Yeah, those are the best. For it. And those squares, stay on the side. And the other side.
Use the samples. Yeah.
So this is the. Oh, there's no way. Remember when we have presentation in Chicago? Malcolm X? That's when we bought these ones because now we have new posters. We have the new board.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take up all those.
Good.
They were good. My poster was it's 11 by 14, 16. They were small.
I like this.
This is big, but
Yeah.
they hold up with one post.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put more than one.
Oh, yeah, I'll have probably 3 across the bottom, 3 across the top, maybe 1 or 2.
Nice. There's another one in there.
Yeah. And there are more resources under tips, I think it is. It's number 19. Yeah. How to use Excel's VLOOKUP function. Oh, and I also have these charts that shows how the functions put together. And I might have given you this one last time. This is familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. It's basically showing us how the function is set up.
Yep, right there.
Good. This one does not have a video. It has an example though that we can download. Getting what they're asking for in here. Instructions. I do have a printout of this. I may have given you this one too, or may not have. Basically, just the printout of this particular part of VLOOKUP. Anyway, instead of calling it like they had in the past, this one, download the example. It's actually going to be the practice file for this one. And what they gave us basically is a sort of a simple list of 15 items from the store and the unit prices for them. And what they want us to do is set up something in E2 where we're going to put our VLOOKUP formula together. You might have VLOOKUPs on your recent list. I probably have it in mind. If you don't, you can just type in VLOOKUP under the functions and it'll come up. And that little handout I gave you shows you basically there's 4 items in there. There's a lookup value, table array, column index, and range lookup. And I think, they mentioned some of those earlier videos. You can see what that particular thing is down below to give a description of it. Table array is talking about a table that we're going to be using. Column index. In this case, column index is kind of important because we're going to be actually looking up, are we talking about the name of the item or are we talking about a price? And range lookup is a logical question, and it's either true or false. True would allow anything that's generally close. False gives us an exact match. So most of the time, we're probably going to want to put in false in there because we'll want maybe a specific cost of something from over here. So for our lookup value, we could type in something, but I think the example they use is photo frame. So I'm just going to click on page 14. Whoops, I'm in the wrong place. I want that down there. So for lookup value, it's going to be A14. And the table array is actually going to be this whole table without the headers. So A2 to B16. Column index, I think what we want to find out is what's the price. So price is in column 2. So you have to count the columns, so we can put in the number 2. And in this case, I've got photo frame in there, but it's not giving me the right number here. So I think I do need to put in the word false. That's one. And now I can see it gives me a preview of $9.99, which, yep, I know that's the right number. So it's a simple way of doing this.
So what would the purpose of this be?
This, I think, is the kind of thing that for companies that are supply companies and stuff like that, this can be used quite a bit when you've got a much more detailed table and they say, I want a, well, even in ordering from Office Max or something like that, I want unit ball, fine point, blah, blah, blah. And you give them a bunch of information and they can pull up from their inventory and stuff. Yeah, we got it here and it's going to cost this much. So I think for
but why would you go through the formula? Why wouldn't you just do a find? Why would you go through that work to create a formula just for a one-time query?
Like if you wanted to just find for a photo frame.
Right, they're saying, we went to the cell, they said go find photo frame. So could you look up value photo frame?
Yeah, you could just type in, like in this case here, I didn't put it in, but I could type in photo frame. As long as I type it in the way they've got it. And it would pull in that value too. This is kind of a limited view, and actually what I like.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand, like the purpose. I guess if you bring up that formula.
Yeah. And again, this is a real simple view here. We've only got 15 items. What I've seen in some of the other views that are, I think, more handy is I probably have a place where we could have in here, instead of having photo frame in that first one, I'd say, let's pull from A1 or E1.
Oh, yeah.
And then in E1, put in, say, scarf. And that would give me the value.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
I think that kind of makes more sense. And I typed it in, but I could actually just point to that, or, put in equals. Scarf, it would do the same thing.
Yeah, but this way, if you got a phone call, you could just type in what you're looking for. And
Yeah. So I personally think that's a little bit handier than just having the one deal.
This makes more sense.
Now, the second tab in there called after, they've actually added a category called gifts. And they're doing something similar here. So I'm actually going to change theirs. They've got the VLOOKUP all set up, pull in the name, gift basket, and say what kind of thing is it. Is it a kitchen item, a writing thing. They've got, 4 or 5 categories here. Clothing, is it clothing? Same kind of thing. I think I would probably change this to have the first cell, not something we type into, but being E1, which of course got nothing in there right now. Okay, so if I did it like this, okay, T-set, it's a kitchen category. Might rather know kitchen category and how much is it going to cost. You could actually set up a second VLOOKUP, stay right below this. That would also work off of the T-set, tell us what the cost is. That sounds like fun, so I think we'll do that. VLOOKUP, the first thing will be this value. Second thing will be our array. Third thing I'm going to pull from column 2. And is that T-set is $16.99. Let's actually get the right number, but just to make sure it does, I'm going to type in false. Oops. Yes, I need to spell false right. That's better. Now, if I change this to, say, T-shirt, clothing and $15.49. So I think, having a couple lookup things like this, especially when it gets more and more complex, I think could be pretty helpful. And it probably gone a long ways from where they were with this. Yeah, I have kind of embellished it a little bit. We have a whole section, though, things that are kind of helpful. I got another handout related to this, though. It's called The Last Guide to VLOOKUP in Excel You'll Ever Need. All right. Not too proud, are they? But I don't think I had that one last time we met. GCF Learn Tree, though, has a good section that I do want to go to. I'm curious through a whole bunch of steps with working with VLOOKUP. And I got to remember where it is. Okay, this is going to be under the Excel formulas, I believe. So it's not the tips one, but the Excel formulas one. And it's quite a ways down the line. It's called Advanced Scenarios. We're going to be working with an invoice here. This is where we may see this being a little bit more helpful. We're actually going to go through 20 through 24 in here.
Sorry, where I lost it.
Formulas, so it's not the tips. It's the other one that was called formulas. So if we can get back to the basic, is that first tab up there, basic? First tab at the top is under that one. Out there, okay, so Excel formulas. We're going to go into number 20. There's no video with this, so we just have this nice fellow here telling us what we're going to be doing. And we're going to download the spreadsheet, which is under our spreadsheet this time. And what we want to do is set up something for calculating the tax. But we're also going to give you free shipping if it's over $100. Right now, there's a value in there for that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the spreadsheet. Close this other one. Don't want to confuse myself too much.
Which one? I'm sorry, I accidentally closed out of Chrome. I'm in.
Keep going down. I'm not sure if you're in the right. This is the basics. Keep going down. Well, certainly. So number 20, we're going to start with this.
Okay.
And there's going to be I call it a different name in there, but our worksheet. We're actually not going to do a VLOOKUP here. We're actually going to do if function. So right now it's at $105. We say we're going to give them free shipping if it's over $100. So basically, it means instead of just showing $5.99 in here, we need to put an if statement in here.
Not on the order subtotal.
It's going to be where shipping is. Because the subtotal is just adding up these numbers plus the tax at the top. So I'm going to create an if statement in D7. And my logical test will be, is D6 greater than or equal to $100? It's true. If it's true, we want to not charge them. If it's false, we're going to charge them that G3, the $5.99. Mine didn't work. Oh, because I got this problem before too. I should have taken that $5.99 out there because what it's doing is adding $5.99 plus my if thing. So I'm going to actually get rid of that. Just make it an if statement. Now it's working. So let me pull it up so you can see it again. So D6 is greater than or equal to $100, then we won't charge them anything. So if it's true, zero shipping. If it's false, I'm going to give them that $5.99. I can double check this by just say temporarily deleting that one. Okay, now it's less than $100, $5.99 again. What if it was exactly $100? Well, is it greater than or equal to? So put that in there. Yep, still good.
I just completely just the width of the columns or something. So. I don't know how I got to all of this. Can
I would just hit escape and maybe a couple undos. Use keyboard undos. I'm not used to that. I use that little arrow up above on the quick access toolbar.
I don't know what's supposed to.
Well, we're not back yet. About a few more undos. Okay. Now on the shipping line, this is where we're going to do our if statement. So actually, what I'm going to suggest, since you got the same thing I did, I would go ahead and delete that equals G3, get rid of it. Everything.
Oh.
And put an enter and then go back into it now. Let's pull in an if statement. Maybe in your recent FXs. Order formulas. You want to go that way? Yeah, it's top of your list. That's good. The logical test will be that subtotal is greater than or equal to $100.
So D6
C6.
is greater than 200.
And the true will be, we're not going to charge you, so 0. And the false will be G3.
Right.
And okay. Got no charge. Now, if you delete like one of those things, like I deleted the 45 just to see if it still worked.
Just delete.
Yeah. And now they're paying. Now they're paying the shipping.
Okay.
Basically, that's all they want us to do with this one. I believe that's it. We're gonna actually have a different file for each of these different tabs.
We'll close out of here.
Yeah, go ahead and close that one. Actually, I forget about using this, but in the GCF Learn Free, if you go to the very bottom of the instructions there, it actually gives you a link to go to the next, to part 2, which will be lesson 21.
Number 6.
What says continue? Yeah. Now we're getting free shipping. We want to do a little bit more where we're, let's see. Actually, did I jump ahead? This looks like the same one we just looked at. Let's open up this spreadsheet. It'll look kind of similar to the other one, I believe.
It's the same one as before.
Oh, I guess I did get moved down. I'm still part 1.
Lost, I think.
Didn't take me to part 2.
Spreadsheet.
This one we're going to use VLOOKUP to come up with our spreadsheet, what the things are in the invoice. The invoice right now just has these product IDs. We're going to use VLOOKUP to tell us what the product name is, product price. If we put in units in here, we'll go ahead and calculate things.
Somebody hit save on mine, so it's already filled
You go
out.
to the invoice tab. Bottom.
I don't.
So I'm going to go to product name next to MEA 7879 and create a VLOOKUP there. In this case, we're actually going to be pulling in from that other tab, the one that's called product tab. But the value I want to look up is this product ID. So my first thing there, lookup value will be A2. Table array, then I'm going to click on products and choose that bunch there.
Are we in the bonus or I got lost with that going back and forth? Is this the one?
Use, what part are you in? Oh, you're in part 1. You get the same problem I did. So just click the back arrow.
Yeah, I got confused.
Oh, now you're in part 2. And so scroll down just a little bit more, our spreadsheet there.
Oh, okay. I got confused.
I usually had printouts of these so that it was easier to follow through. I left them at home, I guess.
So,
Sorry about that.
what are we supposed to do now? To create a VLOOKUP?
Go to the invoice tab First tab in there.
Okay. All right.
Back up. We got these blanks here, but we want to pull in from the other tab, from the products tab, various things here. So we use
My thing is not letting me insert a function.
Do you have enabled editing in?
Protected view. Do you have that enable editing thing?
Close out.
Yeah,
and start again.
I'd say close it and open it again. Don't hit that update now thing. I don't know why that pops up. So I'm going to use VLOOKUP. I like the fact that in my recent list that puts it at the top. My lookup value is going to be this A2, the MEAT, or well, I have no, it's MEAT, MEA 7879. Table array then, I'm going to go to the products tab. Basically highlight everything, A2 down to C13. I want to know the product name, and I see from this table here that that's going to be column 2. It's telling me calendar without putting anything there. The default for this range lookup is actually true. That's not quite work right, so I want to put in false again. And I did the same thing again. Blaze. Stop typing like that. And now it says measuring cups. Okay. Now we could drag this down and over, but one of the things is, if you remember relative and absolute values, right now A2 to A13 is fine.
Yeah.
But if we drag it down, it's actually going to work for a couple of these because it's a short list. But actually what it did was instead of A2 to C13, then it went A3 to C14, A4 to C15. But these all fit in that range. Probably better to lock in that table range. Actually, I'm going to go back to measuring cups. I'm going to use it for product price too. And I'm going to take my A2 and make it absolute. $A, $2, and $C, $13. Now this one, if I copy it down, doesn't change anything in this case because these are all within that range still. But now I'm pulling in each one just from that table.
Now, why did you do that?
Because what it was doing, it was a relative thing, so it was shifting down. And if this was a really, really long thing, we only had like 10 values on that product worksheet. Eventually, we'd start getting errors and stuff popping up, which actually we'll see in a couple exercises here. They actually give us an error and have us go through and try to fix it. So if I copy this over to product price, it's not going to work quite right. It's got the right range in there, but now I'm going to edit this guy because right now it's saying from B2, column 2. Well, I don't want, in this case, I don't want the unit price, which was, as I recall, that was column 3, I think, right? Yeah.
Did you pull up the formula?
So I look at value. Actually, I want to keep it to being this very first thing, the A2. But now for columns, I'm going to change it to column 3.
Wait, how, in the invoice sheet, how did you get,
I copied over,
did
I actually
copy
dragged
over,
over
okay.
the measuring cups one.
But how did you open up the formula?
The way I like to do it is just click on this little FX and it brings it up. So right now, mine says B2, but I really want it to be, just to be consistent, I still want to pull up from that product ID. In this case, product name would work all right. The only thing I have to do different though is I'm not pulling in the product name now, I want to pull in the price. I'm going to change column index to the 3rd column. And $4.99 it says. I bet if I drag this down, it should give us the values for those others. And just as a double check, I usually go over, okay, cheesecloth 289. Cheesecloth 289, okay. A little double check there, just to make sure it's working right.
I can't get my formula to drag into this one. I'm gonna do this. It tells me NA.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
So then how did you do
No,
it?
then I edited the NA. So go ahead and drag it over again. And then just click on that one cell then. Escape. Because now you're changing formulas. Then just click on the one cell. And then click FX. I mean, you can do it other ways too.
Okay. So
Then,
now
but
see,
you can actually leave it measuring cups because we know that's going to work too. But the column index needs to be changed to the $1, which is the third. But if you hit OK, it'll give you a good value. No, it didn't. Oh, maybe so. Oh, maybe we do need A1 there, so it knows what we're talking about. I mean, A2.
it's a 499 measuring cups, right? This. This.
We'll pull it in. Whoops, you're dragging it. What's the keyboard shortcut for undo?
Control Z.
Control C?
Z.
Z, Control Z. I don't remember that. Like I said, I'm kind of spoiled with using the mouse and the undo arrow.
I toggle between the three.
Uh-huh.
I think it's there. Looking up something all the way versus.
Okay, so we should
Uh-huh.
have measuring cups, garlic press, cheesecloth, and then these various values. Okay, good. And that's basically all it wants to do with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and close this file too, and not save it. And see if I can get to part 3 without getting confused. Oh, there we go. Part 3 is where something's broken in our VLOOKUP. It wants to figure out how to fix it. So for this one, they got VLOOKUP showing a nice thing here for RAM 7889 or 7890. Seems to be working good for these two. But Zest. Not showing it's got a problem there. We got to figure out what the problem is. And I'll actually give you a hint. The problem is on the products worksheet. Right now we're going to A2 to C13. Go to the products worksheet. Oh, they added to it. So it doesn't stop right at 13, it goes on down to row 16.
So how would I have known that though? I mean, just looking at this regular sheet, I wouldn't have figured that out.
On this sheet we wouldn't, but if we want to look at the products worksheet where we're pulling the information from, I'll go back to this one. So
it says C13.
I'm looking at my Zest one. So it's pulling these 3. Okay, it's pulling in that ID, product ID. It's pulling from column 2. It was fine up here. Worked fine for Ramekin. So everything looks good there. But notice, and yeah, this is where we'd have to see, okay, the product range right now is A2 to C13. Okay, so I go to the product sheet then and see, oh, okay, they've added stuff to it. What they actually suggest a lot of times with this kind of thing, especially if it's a really long one, it may make sense to change your range to something even way beyond that. Maybe it says C13, make it C25. That way, if we add more stuff to it, they'll eventually be fine with that too. But if I hit enter now, oh, now it knows it's Zester. And same problem is going on here because it's only going down to C13. I'm just going to edit within there. I edited it within, and now Zester shows C25. Go to the product one, the other Zester 725. Yeah, just from looking at the original NAs or the pound signs. It might take a while to look. That's why I actually kind of. Maybe I should have let you look just so you can see.
I know, right?
It.
Because it would have taken me like about half an hour, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't understand why mine didn't work. When I changed it to 25.
They're pulling the zester in. They're pulling the name in.
14.
And
And I just changed the range to be to C25.
C25.
To C25.
Can you go back to the, yeah, go ahead and hit OK. I want to see what's in this one. Okay, so it's pulling from B3 now instead of A3. Well, that shouldn't make much difference, I would think. And can you click on your FX button again? See that fold again. Oh, it's pulling products to be 14.
Oh,
So in the first one, if you just point to, go back to the invoice, and point to the, yeah, that first one there. And okay. There you go. Okay. So somehow
so
I
there's two errors maybe.
well, I think you might have introduced one.
Oh, I may have clicked something while
Yeah.
I was looking for it.
Yeah. I think that's all they want us to do on this one. Close this guy. Number 23 or part 4 is going to be some more shipping options. Actually changing our shipping options. Actually, when you open up the spreadsheet, you'll see they've changed the file around a little bit too. So just having invoice and products, now we've got a tab called shipping, which has standard 2-day and 1-day, or 3-day and 2-day. I used to work for UPS, so I like to play with this a little bit too. I actually did it in 1 day, made $20. And then we got tax on actually a separate tab too, which is interesting. So I spread things out. Back on the invoice, when I look at tax now, I see it's adding these things up and then multiplying by tax B1, which is that table with B1 being the 7.5% tax rate. Subtotal, and they're adding up those 3 things there. And shipping option right now, they just put 3-day in there. So what we need to do is actually under shipping cost, we're going to actually be pulling from that table. So we're going to actually do a VLOOKUP for this. I'll do a VLOOKUP again. And the lookup value will be what's in E6. Right now it's 3-day. Table array, I'm going to go to that shipping tab. And basically A2 to B4. And I know just looking at this now, I can see the cost is going to be in column 2. To play it safe, I'll type in FALSG.
Column 2 or column 3 for product price? Column 2 on what?
Column 2 from the shipping table.
Oh, okay.
Shipping table only has, those 2 columns. And I got $9.99 there. I'm just going to play with this a little bit. If I type in 2-day, it automatically changes to $13.99.
false comma. So it says shipping. P6 shipping. It's to be for, comma, shipping again. Why is it?
Got more than you need there, yeah.
And then you said changes to 2 day?
Yeah, I changed it to 2 day just to make sure it's working. Well, they also want us to give them a discount. Actually, I'll play with our shipping options in a minute, but they want us to give them a 10% discount on everything.
Including the shipping?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Actually, no. I think it's the discount on the sub.
Okay.
For any but I think it's the subtotal. Go zoom down there and see. Yeah. So if this subtotal is greater than. Actually, what they want us to do is, I'm sorry, yeah, this is reworking the thing because now we lost our $5.99 that we had up here. So what they want us to do, if this total for the subtotal is greater than $100,
Should be free.
then we will discount
Oh,
the shipping rate, but just the standard rate, not 3 day or
Oh,
4 day.
discount the
2 day.
shipping rate?
So it's going to be an if statement again. And I'm going to put in my subtotal, which is E5, greater than or equal to 100. This is a little different now. Before we were pulling in that $5.99, but actually we want to give them credit for that. So I'm going to, if it's true, it's going to be minus $5.99. False. No change. If I did that right, subtotal plus, in this case, I got 2 day in there, so that'd be 128 or something like that. Take away $5.99, it makes it 123. And like I say,
Why did you key in the $5.99?
give them the standard rate, even though
We'll
it
give
costs
them-
us 13. We're giving them the standard rate.
we're going to give them that standard rate.
So how did you key that in?
So my if statement was if that total on the subtotal line is greater than or equal to 100, and my true value is I'm going to take away $5.99, so it's a minus $5.99. And if false, do nothing.
Okay.
I could leave that blank even, and it wouldn't change it.
And if false, what?
Either 0 or nothing. I mean, you can leave it blank. Really, we only want, if it's true, we want to take away the $5.99. And it just changed my shipping section. I'm actually going to expand it to B5 because I added in 1 day. Oops. Oh, I lost my 1.
Yes. Because our range isn't set up to catch it.
I changed my range.
Yeah, the range is.
In mine, I actually went over to shipping and added this next day air at $20. I have no idea what it is now. It's been a long time since I've been at UPS. It's probably a lot more than that.
More $20, yeah.
I know next day air letters used to be like 10 or 15 bucks. I don't know what they are now. And now with this new character Amazon in the fray, I don't know what UPS and FedEx are going to do.
Merge.
Yeah.
I didn't get mine. I got 1 day.
How did you change?
I didn't change up here because.
Well, the shipping range needs to be through B5 now. If you added the 1 day into the other. Yeah, it's not, yeah, if it's 25 or something, you can change that, maybe you can give her, yeah, we're gonna charge you 25 for that. And when I was leaving UPS, they were going to this early next day stuff. We could get deliveries before 8 o'clock or same day deliveries, but those were hugely expensive.
I can imagine.
Early delivery was not too uncommon. We get a number of those, and so we'd send the drivers out, and the first stop had to be, might have to go off their route, but the first stop had to be that place with that early AM.
Right, but you're hoping you can get access to the building and all that stuff when you go in early like that? That's gotta be
Yeah, that could be a problem. But if somebody really wanted it early, like
it would wait for
legal document or something, a lot of times things like that are
sign
shipped
some
like
force
that.
law to come in early.
So there would be somebody there if they had some kind of urgent need for it. Or they wouldn't be paying all that extra money.
It's gotta be worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's about all we need to do with this one. I'm gonna close this one. Not save it. I think we got one more. Oh, data validation. This is an interesting one because I know we had data validation pop up in our geometrics, but without much meaning. This is one where I think it makes sense. So that's why I kind of like this one. Oops. So this is another one where we got to troubleshoot. We got a problem here. Shipping option. They typed in standard, but they misspelled standard. So that's probably where our problem is, because down here it says pound NA for shipping cost. It doesn't know what to do with it. In this case, they look at their setup there, and they actually made that table array A2 to B10, so they actually expanded it beyond those first few rows. So that part looks okay. So what's wrong? Well, in that table, it's looking for either the word standard or 3-day or 2-day. And since they mistyped this, that's not working right.
Trying to still navigate to the right. Is it under bonus section?
I'm sorry.
Where are you? I'm still
You're
on.
back in part 1. How'd you get to part 1?
I don't know.
I would use the back arrow on the top there. And oh, there's data validation. Yeah. Well, this to me is where data validation actually makes sense. So if we sloppily type in, like I did with false, or standard in this case, it's actually going to help correct it. So with that highlighted, I'm going to go to the data tab at the very top. And my things are collapsed down here, so I got to find data validation. Oh, data validation is under data tools. Got a small icon for it. I'm going to go to data validation. And it brings up a dialog box and it says, what do you want? Well, under allowing any values, no, we don't want to allow any value. We actually want a list. So I'm clicking on list. And then the source is going to be from our shipping tab. So I'm going to go to the shipping tab and highlight those words. Standard. Actually, I can go further, I guess, since they went further. So I'm pulling from the list from the shipping tab of basically column A. And when I click OK, I got a little pull down arrow next to this now. It's actually going to show me hastily, these are the only things you can use. If I click on standard, then it works. And this is kind of nice too, because I can see, okay, what's it going to cost 3-day or 2-day. This, to me, is where data validation makes more sense. It prevents us from keying in the wrong thing and giving us just a short list of things we can use. It's actually basically it for the VLOOKUP. And some different things with it using if statements, but also, that's why I say when we had data validation in the geometrics thing, it was just clearing Antoine from having data validation. Well, that didn't do much for us. Here it kind of makes sense.
So close out here.
We'll close out. It's actually probably time for another break. Sorry.
I got out of Chrome.
Get out of Chrome. Well, it's all right because we're going to be done. We're done with Chrome for now.
Okay. What are we doing the rest of the day?
We're going to do a little bit of geometrics,
Oh, so.
which has a few VLOOKUPs. It's funny, there's not a lot in geometrics for VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, and stuff. But I put together a few questions, which actually won't take us the rest of the time. It'll take us just a little while. Oh, that's right, you're going
I'm
to
gonna be leaving, so maybe, no, we can take a break, but maybe I'll just see where we're, she'll point me, once we get started on geometrics, I'll just get my test started and then
Okay, 'cause
then head out.
like I say, it's pretty simple. It's only got 7 questions in it, so it's not a big long.
Maybe that one I'll finish. I got all these started tests.
I don't know if you remember my list. I had like 42 saved
Well, yeah,
tests.
but you're doing a
And then
sample.
it changed on me. I think they cleaned up. They said, well, you're not going to go back to these old ones. So now I've got a shorter list. They were right. I wasn't going to go back to most of those old words. I only got 19 now. They got rid of a bunch of them.
My list of my flag ones.
Oh, okay. Is
Oh,
this-
Mac worksheets.
Yeah, I
This is
apologize
actually
for my in and out. Just-
And I'll just visually show you this. We can still have the break, but under Excel Expert, there's a bunch of things up there, but I've created 4 practices that are related to the 4 chapters in Excel Expert. And at the bottom, this is one we're going to go into, but like I say, it's only got a few questions in it, but it's a little bit about pivot tables.
So, okay, so you created,
I created 1, 2, 3, 4
for the
for the Excel Expert book.
book, okay.
And as you can see, there's not a lot of, there's less questions in there. I wish they had built it out a little bit more.
And then is the exact, does the test,
The test will not cover this
It will
for
not
the
cover
basic Excel certification. This would be the kinds of things that would be in the advanced or the Excel Expert certification.
Okay.
Same kind of thing. It's a 50-minute test, 35 questions roughly, set up in the same
so the
format.
first test covers the other book?
Yeah, the first test would be like the things that we have in just plain
Oh,
Excel.
here's Excel.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, we should go to this one?
Yeah, we're going to go into Excel Expert. And training. We'll stay with training. It's at the bottom of this long list, I think.
So these one.
And I've only had a few students actually go for Excel Expert, and it is pretty tough. And it really gets into some crazy formulas or functions within functions.
I'd probably like that for fun, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
To be honest, I'm not an expert. I know a good bit of it, but I'd have trouble with some of those. Just like in pivot tables, I have trouble with doing the those adding the columns with different information, like the bonus column. You know, your 10 ones.
I got one of them.
Mm-hmm. So a yellow box flag going, but I don't see it now. Oh, there's probably, oh, there's,
5 named rangers. All right. Commission rates worksheet for salaries 82 to 66. Define the name range bonus. Call it bonus. Okay.
no, where we check that. Thought I was doing
Yeah. All right. Now we combine sales worksheet. Add a rightmost column in bonus pay. Insert.
Actually, just type it next to sales. It's already a thing of tables, so if you add it next to sales, we'll pull it in.
So up here,
Yeah, down there. This is actually VLOOKUP, isn't it?
there's just gotta be named bonus pay.
Okay.
Calculate the bonus amount for each use the bonus name range. So how do I do that? So I went to the light bulb.
Mhm.
Huge list here.
Yeah.
Select cells.
You're already good through number 9, I think.
Yeah.
Number 10 is formulas. We're going to pull up the VLOOKUP.
All right. Lookup value is bonus pay.
Actually, pulling it in from what's they made, so that's like E3, I think. I can't tell if it's hiding behind here. No, I mean it's behind that help box.
Lookup value equal to table rate. Tab bonus. Column 3.
I'll go ahead and close that and see what it's doing.
Now I should be able to.
So, I think we can probably drag that down. It might work. So what it's doing is, for people that made more, then actually get larger bonus.
Mhm. So that was a V lookup?
Yeah, that was the VLOOKUP.
I think that's as far as I got it up to with 40. I kind of skipped over entirely. It's funny. Here's another crazy one.
Am I in the right test? Was that like an logarithmic?
Logarithmic. Yeah. This is some of the stuff we didn't really touch on here. So,
I just want to make sure I was in the right
financial
test.
data. So click on this guy. Then I use this little pull plus bar there because it's got a bunch of things in it. If you click on that, it'll give you different options. One of them is timeline. And follow it to the right because you want.
This one, the trend line?
Yeah, the trend line. I mean, yeah. Follow the arrows.
Oh.
Well, that's okay. I think you'll be okay too. And let's say first one is logarithmic. If it's not in your short list here, then you can click more options. And you can click OK to this. It's 2005 is fine. Then it brings this up. You click on logarithmic, and it's actually creating a trend line in there. It's a little hard to see It's actually going to do another trend line for the other table down below, or the chart. So we're doing the same thing in this one, except it's going to be I'm sorry, which one is 5.5 periods? 1.5 periods. I think the other one is 1.5 periods, so I might need to change that a little bit.
What is this? What am I doing?
Pull up trend line again. Next to it with okay. Now on this, we chose logarithmic, but if you scroll down, see it as forecast going forward. It's in 1.5 periods. So if you just type in 1.5 in there, that should do that one well. And it's hard to see the bottom of this, but it's probably an okay somewhere in there.
Oh, this is the X.
Can you pull down?
It's as far as the top.
Okay, I'll go ahead and just hit enter a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got 2 in there now, so I think that's goofed you up a little bit. So it's got it showing up twice here.
So now I did it for 2005.
Did it 2 times, so I thought we were correcting the other one, but didn't think that. So I thought we were doing a brand new one. Anyway, then they're actually asking us to do another one for this chart, being exponential. Exponential, I think, was in that short list. Yeah. And it added it, 2009. I don't know why I pulled in 2009.
Didn't give me more options.
Oh, we got 3 of them now. You may want to do a reset and start fresh there, because I think probably added too many things. It's all right.
I want you to do this problem in its entirety.
Okay. So there's a problem with the percentage.
Percentage of change.
Mm-hmm.
Says open the combined sales worksheet today and select D3. The formula bar and an opening parentheses after the text equal. And closing parentheses after before the text equals.
Yeah, because we didn't follow the order of operations. We wanted to get the difference there by not having it in. It was doing the division first. But there's still more wrong with it, though.
There's still more wrong with it. Now these spaces in here, because that's a space or whatever.
I would get rid of spaces too.
There's a space here. Anyway.
And that's a space, I think, after D3.
Anyway, so combine sales to sales. Where did we start? Sales 2010. Close current. Okay, is that right?
Not quite. So yeah, I need a single quote there. Yeah, so actually, well, there were 2 things wrong. First, they didn't have the parentheses and they had the extra spaces. But over here, it had something else in there, which had nothing to do with comparing 2011 to 2012, or 2010 to 2011. We went to see what was the increase in sales between the one year and the other. So now this should work.
And it takes me to here.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I want to save it. I didn't like that. Somehow.
Right.
Close you for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Close you. Just want to see the FX box. Why are you trying to do a VLOOKUP? Why am I looking at something? Yeah, see, the original one had combined sales out here, which really didn't help us, because that wasn't what we needed. But I know sales 2011 minus 2010 divided by sales D3. I think what I'm going to do is this isn't quite the same setup. There is a space in there between 10 and 11. I need to, oops, you get escape from me. Do that. Okay, so it has to be pretty much the same as what we have here. So the quotes, actually I can review this too, because we have this problem. We just looking through. I want to do that. But if I can do that. Please. All right, they start with completely, but then I add 3 to the end. Yeah, go ahead and enter. And that's actually a good number. You can see it actually if you look at 2010, 2011, you see that Elizabeth didn't sell so much in the new year.
Okay.
And then we can copy that formula down to the other 4 people. And you'll see that some are up and some are down. Stuart Williams didn't make too much the first year, but he made almost twice as or 100% more the next year.
So in that instance, the light bulb is telling me to type, but I probably should have just copied and pasted because whatever that was, that's what it wanted. Because it took me to, go look up a file. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Anyway, that should work. You see, it gives you a green arrow, green check. I mean, yep.
Okay, so where are we now? I gotta get out of this.
Go ahead and save that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we want to take a test, then what do we have to do?
Contact me.
Okay.
But I suggest before you contact me, practice the core exam ones that were like not in the expert, but in the basic one. And the actual test takes about 50 minutes, but I usually set aside about 2 hours for it because you register with Certiport, the certification tool, and you register with Microsoft. So it's just a matter of keying in stuff.
Okay.
And so
Do they actually go into do the trainings, and then once I feel comfortable with the training, they just then go do the actual test and practice test time?
Do the practice test. Yeah, we do them in the time mode because then you lose your light bulb.
Yeah.
And it'll help you see. Now, it's not a real long test. It's 15 minutes. It'll help you see the pace to go at. And,
yeah, but as you see, I have a hard time getting to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with the other class I'm supposed to be doing too, so but
this is optional.
this is fun.
Yeah, but some people like to have this on their resume too.
Yeah.
So when I took the class, I didn't bother with the certification test at that time. I was just a student. But especially if you're going to be working in, you're going to be working in data warehouse maybe, or clean up a lot of stuff. Something like this is better. Certain administrative type things, I think it makes a lot of sense.
What kind of jobs are you working?
Medical administrative assistant. So
That's
like
what I'd like to do, but I don't know what classes I need.
coding and billing and stuff like that. So I'm taking the coding here too, which I had taken some stuff on my own, but it's going really slow. So I'm going to.
And you took the medical terminology?
I'm retaking it here. They're making me retake it. I had taken it through this one organization at HEMA.
I'm scheduled to take medical terminology, I think, at the beginning of the year.
At HEMA or here?
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think I got medical coding in there.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. And then with the administrative
Do you have
assistant,
experience in it?
just book experience. No, I don't have any real work experience. But I have lots of office experience, and I'm getting actually one-on-one training from the lady here because the other students, for whatever reason, they've not been around. So every Saturday morning, it's like this.
What?
Yeah.
Which? Oh, with the
Yolanda, yeah.
Oh, the coding
Yeah.
person.
She's at Stanford Hospital for this, and so she's just like knows everything.
Yeah,
Oh, I
she's
wish I
really
was in
good.
your
I got her all
class.
to myself. It's
Wow,
great.
that's
Yeah.
good. She taught a
I'm gonna
class
think I'm
recently when
gonna
I
talk
was.
to swap out one of my classes.
Yeah.
Put the coding.
I thought you were
in
doing project management.
there. I don't want to do that
Yeah.
job. I'm just picked out the classes that would fit into my current resume. But I wanted medical terminology and stuff so I could get a job in an office, in a
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah, that's.
I wanted all this so I could get into a hospital and maybe, not do what I was doing, but or even
Kinda segue over,
or
yeah.
segue over
That's
to
what
that to downsize my workload eventually. I would rather do that now.
Right. Well, with the medical coding, eventually they let you go on your own and you'll be working out of your house, and
That's
from what I
really
can tell,
what I
pretty
do.
good money.
So how do you find those?
Well, that's the thing. That's why it's so great to talk to somebody like Yolanda or these guys here,
Okay.
because they say they're going to help us. So
Yeah, I
Yolanda,
need to get the
think,
right
is probably
class,
a-
'cause all
excellent
these
person
other-
for that.
these other courses I took, I don't see myself getting those certifications. I'm not ready, and I don't have time. There's no time if you're jumping from class to class to class.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. That's why I know my
I
student.
think the classes should be like even recorded longer so that we have self-study time.
We have this conflict a lot of times between the WorkNet people and what we can do. A lot of times they want this schedule set up so you're done in X months,
Right.
2 months, 3
Right.
months, whatever it is.
But you've got so many,
Yeah.
you qualify for so many classes and credits that.
And I,
That's-
like even my PMP student now in Gurnee actually told Paul, no, don't start that next class yet, even though her next class is more of a regulatory one, which is an online thing that you do. She wanted to put that off until she got done with really getting understanding project management professional and took the exam for that. So that's one of the harder ones.
Well, I mean, even this class I'm supposed to be in now online, I really don't see value in it. I'm just doing it because if I do get a job in my field, then it would be good. But
What's your field again?
I'm a business analyst.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you could really work anywhere, really, but in a hospital would be great.
Yeah, because I really don't want to be doing what I was doing. I'd just rather go into work and go data entry. I'd rather do that right now.
That's where I'm at.
For the last couple of years before retirement.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And even, retirement, what the heck is that, right?
Yeah, well, no, and then I figured you could
Yeah,
eventually
keep
go to
going,
part-time with that.
That's what I'm gonna do.
So that's where
That's
I
my
was thinking,
plan.
that's why I put a lot of that on my
Yeah.
wish list of classes, but
Well,
I
hopefully
just
it's
need
like
to get
when I
in
get
those,
done
and I even asked Paul to move those classes up, but we just ended up going with the.
I'm not sure what he's got in store for me next, but I'd like to take the test like next week for this and then clear my plate for whatever he's got coming down the pike there. I'm trying to
He's
get
in
done.
today too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to get done really
Oh,
quick.
you could say.
Oh.
Oh, I could have him sign the originals.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. My daughter's gonna kill me, she's done an
Go ahead,
hour
Nick.
early.
Go ahead and close out your geometric stuff.
Oh, yeah, I thought I did. Sign the originals up. Daughter's gonna kill me. Sorry. She got done an hour
It's only
early.
12:57 right now, so you
Yeah, but she was supposed to be done at 2, but she's done now.
Oh, she's done now.
So I need to be there now. Hold on, she's gonna.
I'm on my way.
Huh?
I'm
That's
on
what I
my
told her, I'm just about to leave, I had to finish that one question.
Uh,
I had to try 3 times to do. I got it right when I did the first submit, but it took me 3 tries.
I opened up
Oh,
that.
you're in there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch if I get to take this certification.
Now, if you want to go for one of the certifications, just email me and tell me when you want to do it, and we'll work it out.
Okay.
Sometimes it works for both. Like I say, the exam itself is only 50 minutes, but registering with those 2 different groups takes a little while. And sometimes it takes me a little while to get
Everything set up.
everything set up.
You gotta take class that you're teaching.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
I see
Nice
you
to
down.
meet
I
you.
may
Yeah.
not see you again, because I think this is gonna be the last formal class, right?
Yeah.
For this class, yes.
Yeah, but
I'll
I
see
might
you
see you
around
in
the
coding
neighborhood,
maybe. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Put this open, close.
Um,
Are they still in there?
Yeah, you can leave it open
Their
now, I
door's
think, 'cause I don't think we're that noisy now.
They closed theirs.
Yeah. Well, TJ was out there talking a lot too. The employee records worksheet, employee records worksheet, go to that, and F7, we're going to create a VLOOKUP. It finds the ID for the supervisor, Craig Stronin. So where are we pulling from? Actually, I think this could be internal within this one worksheet. So Want to know for Craig Stronik, so he's actually an A16. Table array, in this case, I'm just going to highlight the whole row 7 down to the end of the table. So A7 to D39. You would want the ID for the supervisor, which is going to be in column C. So that's the third column. Not necessarily have to put faults in there, but I'm doing that.
3?
Yeah. The third column in here is the ID column.
So these guys in this employee records are the supervisors in this column A? Or they're just people? Yeah, I see Craig in there. See, I wouldn't have known that.
Craig's in there. Yeah, he is a supervisor. There's
One or more circular references or formula version. So
Okay,
there's something wrong here.
let's look at what you got there.
Starting. I'm just gonna do A, what was it?
A16.
16. Okay.
Table array, then that whole thing. Third column, yeah, that looks good now. No, it's not good. Oh, how do we get F7 plus A7? Oh, I had that. Should be a colon probably between. Wait, we beneath that A16. Oh.
What should my,
Here's what mine looks like. VLOOKUP, and then in parentheses A16, comma, and then that range A7 to D39. Comma 3, comma false. Yeah, there you go.
Here it is. Status chart. Change the chart with what's
What says layout is talking about those quick layouts.
Oh,
So if you're in the chart, under the design tab at the top, quick layout had those roughly dozen, or on this case 10. Layout 1 is the very first one.
change the style to.
And then they want to do something special. They want to actually take that chart and save it as a template. So I'm actually, were you on the chart?
Mhm.
On the chart, then it says save as template.
So I'm gonna have to go back to the file. So on the chart,
What I do is I right click. I guess there's a couple ways to do it. But save as template.
status chart.
I'll make sure we're in geometrics first though too, because it's the default synthesis. And we're calling it
Status chart.
employment chart, I believe is the time. These don't have spaces in it. It's kind of interesting. Employment chart.
Green.
Financial services worksheet and a logarithmic trend. Oh, this is the one that Donna was just working through. So over to its right, we've actually got two charts. We've got a financial data, and underneath it, there's another data one. Logarithmic is something we didn't play with. Trend lines we didn't play with. But you can actually get to it a couple ways. You can get to it by chart element, but I like just using the little plus button next to it. So I'm in the financial data chart. So I'm going to click over here and it's someplace.
Okay.
This may come up over on your right side.
And chart on there.
Yeah. The trend line will be in that list.
Mhm.
And I'm going to follow the arrow over. And it gives me a few things that they want a logarithmic trend line, and it's not in my short list of things. So in my case, I got to go to more options. And it brings up,
Based on 2005.
yeah, click OK. And then brings up this box on the side. Now we got logarithmic showing up there. They also want us to change it. So if you scroll down in there, going forward, they want it by 1.5 periods instead of 1. And I think we can hit enter and it's going to basically do that. If you close that for a minute, because if you look at it now, we've got in our chart that curve line in there and also shows logarithmic 205 in the legend. So that's the first half. The second half is on other data. The next chart below.
Actually, so one below here.
Yeah, so we go over here. And this one they want to be exponential trend line.
So same deal.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same deal. In my case, using the little plus bar, it was in the short list under trend line and following 2005 again. Yeah. And oh, we got a linear in there. Sorry, I misdirected you there a little bit.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it for this one. Obviously, I have a linear in there too. It's funny because they already have a pivot table in here. They don't want us to use that one for this one. Just create a new one. Okay.
And you have to select the
It pretty much shows the right range there, so I'm okay with that. We want it on a new worksheet.
So should I create the new worksheet first and then take the data?
Create the new worksheet.
Table, and go back from employee records.
Isn't I don't know if it was in the table format. If it wasn't, you probably guessed at the right range anyway.
Mhm.
And a new worksheet.
Okay.
Wants office to be a report filter. That in the filter section. Status in the column label.
I don't see an office one in the drop down list.
You got states in there. We got states in there. Something's wrong with that list. It's pulling in one person. Looks like. Oh. You go to sheet 2 again. And let's check on data source. So changed it. Oh, in the tab we analyzed. I changed data source. Right now it's pulling in Okay, that looks like that's the right range. I don't know if this, whoops. That was the right range, yeah. Okay. Why are we getting this stuff here? Just, you're in there already. Click on the table again. Let's see. Why are you showing that stuff? We actually want to add another table. We just want to figure out why this one's not working. See, I got
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
normal
saying.
thing
Yeah,
with
that's,
the 4 headers. Oh, let me ask you this: did we have the headers in our information?
No.
So we can go to that. No, it's missing row 6.
where am I here?
Insert to the table, and now I bet it'll make a little more sense.
E6.
And now you got
Okay.
names and status. Let's get this.
All right. So what am I checking? Status.
It says employee records. The office will be a report filter. And let's see, status would be a column label. And then under the rows, it wants both the ID and the first name, last name. ID first, then first and last name after that. So you get the ID and then looks kind of what like I got. Yeah, is that all they ask? Oh, rename the sheet. Instead of sheet 1, they want to rename the pivot table.
Juicy.
Yeah, bunch of stuff. Okay. You want to retry it or you want to just go on?
I'll just go on.
Get the idea though, they're just
Yeah.
asking us to rearrange a bunch of different ways.
So the worksheet first.
Actually, first I'm going to do an insert.
Records.
And actually, I'm going to do an insert and I'm going to go right to the chart. What you're doing a pivot table. It's kind of funny because when you go to insert a pivot chart, yeah, you're on the other tab.
Information again.
Actually, okay. I didn't have to cover it because it was a definite range there.
It's a new worksheet.
And it's funny because even though the options there were pivot chart or pivot chart and table, it always creates both anyway. So we got the table and the chart there.
Okay. Can I get rid of that? Or just
Just leave it. I'm just going to be working with the chart basically. But you're on the pivot table right now. So yeah, there you go. Status, legend field. Office and access field. Some of IDs They want to be valued.
Put my office in the legend side,
Office, they wanted under access field.
status, and,
Status, they wanted under the legend.
yeah, switched.
It's pretty much like what I got.
Yeah, go user slate.
The interesting thing is, as we created the chart, it actually updated the pivot table to be the same thing.
Yeah, user display.
What do you want?
Mine are straight under here, yours were slanted. So
Are they?
they're like off to the side. Okay.
By the way, one of the things when you've got the table that's already set up like this, they say don't show the office. We can just actually uncheck it on the right side here,
Okay.
and it'll go away. And then we can do whatever else they ask us.
Show order. Status first and last name. Show order.
So we're basically dragging those things down there. Status, first and last name. And ID.
Some ID.
It's hard to see the order sometimes because it's such a small box. What I did was back in there. I saw that I put ID in the wrong place, so I had to scroll down and I moved ID down to the bottom. Or actually moved first and last name to the middle.
And then switch it from there. Sheesh.
Records table, insert a slicer for the office field. It's got to be one of your pivot table options. So just click on one cell. Oh, yeah, I can get it to it that way too, but that's
No connections to this one.
okay. Just click on one cell in the pivot table. And now you get your pivot table tools up there. So under Analyze, insert slicer. You want the state. Slicer, but we only want a few things in here. So we're going to need to use our control key. Arizona, Utah, and Washington. So in the slicer, we're using the slicer to slice it down. So in the slicer, I would click on, no, you don't need more. You already got it there.
Oh, this.
Yeah. So you're
Arizona.
Arizona.
And Washington.
You're reversing it though. Yeah. Click on Arizona. And now hold the control key. There you go. I got it wrong.
think I hit some wrong ones there. Suppose that's good.
Oh, I know what I missed. They want us to actually change the title of the slicer to offices shown, or just had some other thing in there. It's a little trickier one, because actually what we're doing is changing the word office and that title in there. Which is actually, there's a list of stuff. I right-clicked on it, got the list up. At the bottom there's slicer settings. And then the name right now is office, but they want it to be offices shown. I didn't change.
I didn't go. Lookup.
The dashboard. It's not letting you go down. That's where we're starting from.
On the same sheet.
It's actually the employee data worksheet. I'm going to get to the top.
Can't do that with all of them. This is invalid.
Let's get a something before employee data that's hidden in the way. I get rid of that plus sign. That should be there. It wasn't. It still had something extra. Yeah, that plus sign get in there.
That's what yours looks like. 35, J 36.
Oh, you put down some space there, so. A3. Looks good. Except, I'm going to suggest one thing, that we need to have false in there, because otherwise it's going to give you some value.
Okay, it does have the false in there.
Click on. I guess we got a $2,300 bonus, so I'm not quite sure what's showing it. You go back to the bonus one again. You got. You look up N35. Oh, it's just looking at your function there. N35 employee data worksheet. 4. We lost the false. Oh, there's no comma between 4 and the false. I guess that's a problem. It's 2,300 is what his bonus was. Actually, it's on the employee data worksheet. If you look up Yamaguchi.
Well, I find it hard to navigate between the screens to find my table, so I can find my equation again, which is crazy. I don't get it.
Is that computer that's the problem, you think?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I literally could not find, if I wanted to find the, I had to start again. Right? There's no way to hit this and, okay, if I can, okay.
That's why I like to use that little FX button too, because then it shows me. Go to there.
Mhm.
FX just shows me when I've got a formula.
That's what I
It shows me, okay, there's the lookup value, there's what we got from the table array,
Mhm.
and X column 4.
So I go to the area that I want to be in, I hit the FX button, and it brings me to that screen, because that's what I was missing. Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. I have to spend a lot more time with that.
Okay.
So the last one, it's number 9 here. Employee data. Get a chart worksheet. Insights, measures, full name, salary, department. Okay.
Just gotta find them, just ask us to insert those slicers. That's right.
That's it.
You on the pivot chart?
Uh-huh.
Seeing a pivot table there. Say, look around a little bit more. I think we should also have the chart in there. There's the chart.
No.
Mine just had the little
I
chart.
already said it. Right here. Did so wouldn't surprise me. Maybe the first time. Okay. Employee data pivot sheet. Insert slicers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not differentiating it.
Okay.
I think that's all they're asking us to do. They say they didn't ask us to choose anything, but just create those. It's 1:30.
Yes, I gotta go.
Okay.
And so let's talk about next week for me taking a test. You wanna call me and tell me what your schedule is? 'Cause Tuesday's the best day for me.
Okay.
I can come, tell me where to go, wherever you're gonna be next week.
Tuesday's up being Gurney, I guess.
Okay?
You been there before?
No, but I can put in GPS, right?
Yeah. It's on what I still call Milwaukee Avenue, but up there they call it,
41 or
uh,
14.
they call it North Riverside Drive. But it's right next to Great America, though.
Okay,
It's like by the back door of Great America.
okay, that's fun.
And if you have the address for that, I can give it to you.
I have it on some of the paperwork here.
Yeah, it's probably around 495 North Riverside.
Okay, all right.
Suite 109. My class will go 9:30 to 1:30.
Do you want me to come like after that or before that or?
Either way, I used to get up there around 8.
Okay,
Although I've run into trouble trying to do it that way because if we have any kind of problem at all, we're in the class. So it might be better if you could come up in the afternoon.
okay. So like I'll come at 1:30 and
Okay.
then you just, plunk me down somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, very exciting. And everything that's gonna be on that test is on that handout you gave me, despite us learning all this new stuff, right? You're not gonna slip the new test on me, are you? Advanced test.
Yeah, the advanced stuff, it's nice to know and it's going to be helpful in a lot of jobs, but
Yeah.
for the
Test.
the test that we're talking about,
Yeah, that was on that sheet that you just gave us another copy of
Yeah.
today.
which is basically that's just a summary of what it has in the front of the chat.
Right.
Book anyway.
Mhm.
This-
Well, I've just been drilling through the core skills and the practice tests in the practice mode.
Mhm.
So I guess this week if I do it in the test mode, would that be weird?
No, I would actually suggest that
Okay.
because that'll help you see how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you call up new test and change this to train, to check the
I don't
testing,
pick a light bulb anymore.
then, for exam 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the ones that are very similar to what the exam does.
Okay, super.
And when you start one of those, it's actually, instead of starting out at 0 and going up, it's going to start out at 50 and time down.
Okay, all right.
So you'll be able to see in between with it.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna be doing on my whole week, but thank you again.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna try to catch up with Mr. Paul right now, see if I can